Got him. Winning, winning, winning. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. That was badass. Amazing. Oh my god. What a game. What was that? How many kills did I get that game? 12. Fucking
happen to hear something, it takes away all of the weight and momentum. But this is going to come back later. I do want to put this out later because, like I said, I thought that this was interesting, but I will be harping on it later. So, we are now introduced to our main character, Jeff, a young man, presumably mid-teens, because once again, God forbid they give us any kind of age to really give an idea. Not even like a grade, like they say, because the whole thing here is,
is it destroyed? I'm blowing up. I'm shooting this shit. Got him. Winning, winning, winning. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. That was badass. Amazing. Oh my god. What a game. What was that? How many kills did I get that game? 12. Fucking. The license plate reads 3CP 462. Alright. Now, this is a reference to SCP-462, codenamed the Getaway Car. And the Getaway Car is described as being a rusty El Camino, Chevy El Camino, that instantly teleports people to their destination, but in dangerous ways. And this is not something that teleports people, but it definitely will get you to your destination. And the description for the SCP in the file matches the description or the look. This is the craziest PvP experience. I was hoping, you know, we get some like good firefights, and because I wanted to have like a video to use for the video I'm going to be making for PvP. Well, let me clip this. If you plan on turning your tractor trailer into, or your pickup truck into like some sort of mobile fortress with a special Gatling gun that you can put on there, and you can bring the extra Gatling gun in there, it's going to automatically disappear. It kind of sucks. I hope that that's something they change soon, especially since it's pretty important and kind of loses functionality when it comes to mobile territories, not have that as an option. It's my I want to see it. How many kills did I even get this game? It's only 4.
Did you play again?
Oh yeah? Let me look at the highlight.
But way more comfortable spinning around and reading about whoever. Instead, we can just talk about, regardless of definition, is it good or bad to reject democratic results? Is it good or bad to threaten the media based on my principles, which value debate me threaten the media?
So Trump has repeatedly called for like investigations into reporters, into media outlets. He believes that the business licenses of like ABC and CBS, MSNBC, he says, should be pulled. I mean, you don't see these sorts of threats from the Democratic Party.
Okay, so let's get into them.
Maybe he did.
Has Trump
shit,
pulled anybody's license ever as president? Has he actually sent any government officials to do any investigations of any major?
So you agree, though,
stop
him saying...
I like that. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Choice clip. But I didn't pick it up. Almost accidentally started the rating process. I don't even know if the clip actually worked. To actually get the whole clip in. doesn't seem like it did. And it's not the same thing every single time. When you do space ripples, the objective will always change. There's only been a couple of them that I've seen so far. Like, there's one where a Gatling gun drops and you have to shoot a lot of enemies at once. Alright, what's going on, brother? What's going on, Johnny? Now, that was my my little random clip player that I have that starts at the beginning. You know, while I'm getting set up and, you know, set in. You know what I'm gonna do is I might actually just post like a title on it or something, so people won't get a little bit confused and think that that's actually live. But how's everything? Hope everything's going well today. I know I got a little funny little title today, and I'll get into exactly what that means in a bit. But I got good news-ish, I guess, for the United States. Or maybe not. I don't know, maybe I'm speaking a little too early. But today seems pretty slow in terms of, like, you know, national crises and bad disasters and American nightmares and all that kind of stuff. It's a little slow, so a little boring, but we still got a couple things I can cover. And because of that, though, I will say I will probably be spending a lot more of my time today playing video games. Should be fucking nice. We chillin', making some bold claims. The America? I mean Trump? Or me? I know we're currently on an ad break right now, so I'm just gonna try to get this reclaim out. That's why I'm blowing so hard into this thing. Look at that. There's a big old reclaim booger that was stuck inside this nectar collector. It was blocking off the passages, so I couldn't be able to fucking... Oh, yeah, my title? Well, my title will not disappoint. It's a bold claim, but it's a true claim. You know? You know what? I think I'll jump into talking about this right now. Elon Musk has pissed off Donald J. Trump. And how did he piss him off, you may ask? With this cover. Elon Musk, I don't know how or why or when, but Time magazine always does weird shit like this, right? They're talking about the same magazine that said Hitler was man of the year when, you know, right before he went ahead and did his genocide. But he went ahead and did this, and there was an interview in Time magazine with Musk, and it kind of just seems like, you know, Time has that sneaking suspicion, as does the rest of the country who's paying attention and isn't completely obsessed with these two men, that Elon has a lot more control over the United States and a lot more power over the presidential office than Donald Trump himself. That Donald Trump is essentially a fucking pawn that's being played like a fool by Elon in order to get Elon's way. And Elon is using his money, his influence, his position right now to not just make moves in our own governments, but in countries abroad, especially Germany, trying to peddle the far right groups and Nazi rhetoric and all that kind of lovely shit, right? How did Trump react to this?
Mr. President, do you have a reaction to the new Time magazine cover that has Elon Musk sitting behind your Resolute desk?
タイムマガジンにイーロン・マスクが大統領の机の後ろで座っている写真がありますけども、それに関するコメントは何かありますか？
Look at how...
Is Time magazine still in business? I didn't even know that.
タイムマガジンは
Look at that.
廃刊じゃない。
You only say this, right? You only say something like that when you're clearly, like, bothered by what was said, right? He was clearly bothered by, you know, learning that Elon had this picture and Time magazine did this and that they're trying to push this whole, like, article through. he knows that Time Magazine is of course in business. Of course, it's some bullshit because less than a month ago, he was on the front cover. He was Time Magazine's Man of the Year this year, and what kind of bitch ass response like he's trying so hard not to cry, but look how sad he looks after he finds out how embarrassed he is. He's shocked. He's like, no, oh my god, look at that. He's like, so fucking embarrassed.
Is Time Magazine still in business? I didn't even know that. Elon is doing a great job. He's fighting tremendous fraud and corruption and waste.
He continues to suck them off. It's fucking nuts. So, what is he sucking them off for, right? What has Elon been doing under Trump's supposed orders, or with the power that Trump has given him? As I've said in the last couple of days, he's been using it to raid other types of departments and agencies, claiming to try to shut them down, or saying that they have been shut down, all doing a bunch of unconstitutional shit, preventing Congress from getting into their own buildings, fucking raiding databases, stealing people's private information, sensitive data, all this fucking nuts. It's just a long list of stuff. Bothered for sure, 100% bothered for sure, completely bothered for sure. So all this shit, right? And did I forget to open up the... Oh, here it is. So he's doing all this shit with an army of goons, right? These Elon simps that are young 20-year-olds and, around that age, that are going to, let's say, the Department of Education building, preventing Congress from getting in. Like I showed yesterday, it was this bald guy. We wouldn't let them in. He was like backed up by these security officers or whatever that was trying to enforce this, right? So who's on his team? Elon Musk's teenage high school grad staffer known as Big Balls, now State Department advisor. He hired a 19-year-old kid, a 19-year-old goon, whose nickname is fucking Big Balls, right? He's the senior advisor at Elon's new fancy little department of Doge, right? Where the fuck did Elon find this guy? And why is it that he trusts this 19-year-old so much? And I think I have an answer. I think it's because this kid is young and easily influenced by people such as Elon, right? And I think Elon needed to find someone who would have been dumb enough to follow him into the pits of hell and do shit for him that 1000% is illegal, right? So this kid, Big Balls, specifically was given access. He wasn't given it, I guess. They took it. They gained access to the Office of Personnel Management and Treasury Department systems. So their whole raid of these systems, these databases from both agencies, was nearly spearheaded by a guy named Big Balls, right? These systems manage $6 trillion in annual payments, right? All these funds that flow through, right, for programs and all this stuff, all this shit congressionally approved, congressionally created, legal stuff, right? Not that many people in the United States government even has access to these databases. Like, I don't even think the president of the United States alone has access to these things, right? Elon definitely doesn't, and I could promise you, I swear on it, that Big Balls definitely doesn't have clearance or access to these databases, right? 100%. And, he claims that he did nothing contractually wrong. They had access to all machines at Path Network, which is the network that they were using. Apparently he was even, according to his own words, he was even in the position to have wiped the servers if he wished, which goes directly against what was told to us by the Trump administration in the first place. And I think, what was it, some of the agencies heads ups, I forgot who had stated this, but they were saying that they were granted nothing more than the ability to look at these databases and this information, that they weren't able to change it or copy it or do any of the stuff. Yet, you know, it is very obvious that they've been able to do all of that and more, especially when this 19-year-old is telling us this to our face, right? And to top it all off, right, Johnny, because I said that I wasn't lying with this title, right? This kid has previously been fired from jobs, right? Not one, but multiple jobs for leaking sensitive data. He himself had acquired sensitive data and fucking leaked it and was fired for it. He's trust. This is a crazy level of trust into such a random fucking super untrustworthy person. Is beyond. There's no words for it. It's something that I can't even dream of creating. Like when I was younger, I honestly had so much trust in the security of the United States and the government and all that kind of shit. But then, you know, I grow older, right? And now I'm at the age where I'm able to comprehend all these systems and all this information, stuff like that. And I see something like this, where a 19-year-old kid called Big Balls has so much power and control over, basic functionings in the United States government. Like stuff that we rely on to keep shit moving and flowing. Like he could have crashed the economy if he wanted to. He could have literally just crashed the economy if he wanted to. He could have deleted that shit, or even worse, he could have just copy pasted all the things that they found and sent that straight over to Russia or China or God knows who the fuck else, right? And, you know, you can already expect this, coming from their own words, that there's information in these databases or in the security systems in which they penetrated. There's information on not just Elon's rivals, but also Trump's rivals. So, you know, just another tool for these motherfuckers to just be able to get back at those that they have been fighting against them, right? As well as asserting more power onto themselves. This is all highly illegal. I have to keep hammering this down. This is all highly illegal. This is directly unconstitutional in every single sense of the word. They can't be doing this. They can't be doing this. There's nothing that the President of the United States could authorize to allow this to happen. You've seen what we put in the office the past 50 years. Not surprising they allowed that. Yeah, these people allowed illegal activity to happen right before our fucking eyes. And, you know, of course, this is supposed to be the party of, what was it, justice, the party of law and order, right? And even more so, the party of common sense somehow. Yet, again, the president is fucking allowing these crooked billionaire goons and shit to just walk all over this country and extract whatever they fucking want and need from us, right? It's terrible. Like, we won't, right now, we're not going to be able to see the level of destruction that these people have probably wrought. We still don't even know what the fuck they did or what they took. And we should have been seeing, what we should have been fucking seeing, what we should have been seeing, and those Congress people who are being blocked by the Department of, Department of Education, we should have been seeing these motherfuckers fight back. We should have been seeing them being dragged into cop cars because they decided to fucking bust through those doors themselves, right? We need to see some action on a fucking literal level, right? I'm tired of seeing that nobody in the mainstream media, nobody in these, supposed left-leaning fucking news sources, right? They, talk all this shit about NBC and ABC being like leftist woke nonsense. I don't care who it is. Why is no one in mainstream media calling Trump out for being fucking wrong anymore? Like nobody. I don't even see CNN doing this shit. They even have people who are interviewing this fucking guy, and they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. They're letting him lie. They're letting him fucking walk all over us, right? And they're never holding them accountable to any of their actions. Nothing. It's crazy. Like, how did no one call him out for obtaining absolutely nothing in those tariff deals? He's turning around telling us that he fucking convinced Canada and Mexico to do all shit that they were already going to fucking do. He gained nothing. He gained nothing from these deals. He wasted everyone's time. He's gonna cost everyone a lot of fucking money. But nobody's calling him out for that shit on the mainstream media or politicians in general. I don't even see that shit fucking happening. Not enough. Not enough. And again, any of the politicians who end up doing this, Democrats or whatever, they're all old fucks. They can barely like argue a point at all without stumbling on their fucking words, making themselves look like they don't know what the hell they're saying. Like we need more energy. We need more passion for this country, and we need to see that like those types of people at least trying on any level, whether it be a state level or a federal level, trying to rise in the ranks or even fight their way up. They don't even need to do it the natural way. Find the shortcuts. We need somebody, some people, we need a group of people to fucking do this shit. It's crazy. What were Mexico and Canada already gonna do? Well, Mexico had already had plans with the Biden administration to send troops to the border to make sure that like border crossings were like more regulated and that they weren't just having gang members like do backflips over the fucking fence into the United States country. So they already had that kind of like agreement. What was it? Oh, let me pull it up because I actually had it down from a couple days ago. I covered this just not too long ago. I already wrote it all down. Canada had like an agreement with like money. I think they were trying to fund also more security on their border or some shit. Everything that he had promised that they were going to do, they already had plans on doing it like way back in like before the Biden administration. I think some of it was during the Biden administration, some of it was before that. A lot of shit they ended up doing was what was it, the economic agreement that we had with Mexico and Canada that Trump was talking shit about was actually one that he signed into effect himself, which is even more fucking hilarious. Right. What day was that? What day was him doing the deal? Oh wait, it was like the 1st. I think it was the 1st. Here it is. Retaliatory. Shit, did I like not say the first day? Fuck. Yeah, I gotta pull it up. It's in my other stream from the other day. It was on the 1st. It was on the 1st of February because I covered that shit when he passed the tariffs that day. But both of those plans that he had announced, he said that we secured, we already had that shit coming. We already had that shit coming. They need to call him out more for that stuff, though. Like, straight up. Because then we're not going to get anywhere. He's just going to keep fucking lying to everybody. And he's just not going to feel any pressure at all to say otherwise. Let me switch back to the view of my browser. Where is it? It's a good question, though. It's a good question. That's a good question. All right. So, Trump today, he decided to say, "Yo, Hamas, if you don't release all those fucking hostages, ceasefire, right out the fucking window." And he wants them done by Sunday, right? So there's a whole fucking deadline for this to happen. He doesn't have a lot of faith in the ceasefire to begin with, and it's not even so much that he doesn't have faith in it. He just wants it to fall apart, right? He never really seemed like he wanted this to happen in the first place. It seemed like he was kind of pissed off that he had to deal with this coming into his new administration. I think he anticipated them to still be fighting, right? For 4 years during his campaign, he made it very clear, his positioning when it comes to Israel, that he wanted to support them full stop. And that when he came into office, that he would give Netanyahu whatever it is that he wanted. And he's not falling short of that promise at all. And we saw, just was it 2 days ago, when Netanyahu met him in his office, and Netanyahu was like smiling like like a kid in a candy store. Fucking grin from ear to ear out here. And he's promising Netanyahu, oh, we're gonna move all the Palestinians out. We're gonna fucking rebuild Gaza from the ground up. As a matter of fact, two-state solution, yeah, we could do that in Saudi Arabia or some fucking elsewhere, because, you know, we want the Gaza Strip. When I say we, I mean Trump brand wants the Gaza Strip. You can already see it now, glistening in his eyes, the dreams of a Trump casino on the beachfront. And just making so much money from tourism and all this other kind of fucked up shit, right? That was his plan. And he actually said he would consider and allow military action, and all hell would break loose if Hamas doesn't fall through with this. And why is he saying this? Right? This comes shortly after Hamas themselves accused Israel of violating their ceasefire agreements, right? And saying that they were planning on delaying the release of these hostages, right? So it's pretty extreme, you know, and this is just a clear example of Trump trying to take advantage of the situation to cause a lot more chaos and push the ceasefire into a nasty direction. Gaza is a perfect shape for a golf course. Yes, that's what. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that's what has gone through his fucking mind. Like, dead ass. No joke. It's really fucked because I knew that this is like what he had in mind. And we know that this is what he had in mind because his fucking son had spoke about this at some point in length, right? In 2024, what was it? Or was it 2024? No. It wasn't 2024. It was during his first administration. Jared Kushner had this whole like idea or plan for peace that he came out with because, you know, his dad trusted him a lot more back then with fucking whatever. But they had this like idea that they could, you know, rebuild Gaza from the ground up after like kicking everybody out and all this kind of other crazy fucking shit. And in it definitely made it seem like they had plans for turning the whole strip into, what is it, like Atlantic City, I guess? If you guys know what Atlantic City is in New Jersey, it's just a bunch of casinos and on the beach side and hotels and, you know, what have you. While on the outskirts of Atlantic City, it's basically the poor and not the best, not the best fucking communities. As a matter of fact, I guess a better example would be Monopoly, right? Monopoly is literally what Monopoly is based on. What Atlantic City, was it the board is based on Atlantic City? So all the expensive locations, the boardwalk, the hotel, all that stuff, it's gonna be, you know, the nice stuff, right? While the Palestinians who will be kicked out and forced out will be living on the outskirts in the shitty locations, if they'll be living there at all, if they will even be remaining at all, because, you know, fucking ethnic cleansing and all that kind of stuff, right? Which kind of is scary. Scary, you know? But yes, I've been saying for a long time that it's Trump's dream to do this, to take advantage of this. It's like built in his career, I guess, like as a real estate person or whatever the fuck it was. He eyes out spots that would make him a lot of fucking money, real estate property. He builds these crazy expensive projects on them. He dumps all his money, he rips off a bunch of people to try to get it done in the first place, right? He uses poor people. He's probably gonna even use, oh my god, I wouldn't be surprised if he uses the Palestinians to build this shit, or glass parking lot. Yeah, he's gonna glass all Palestine with some real firepower. That's what he's gonna fucking do. Jesus Christmas. But it just makes sense. I've been saying that they're gonna do this for a while. I fucking argue with a bunch of people I was gonna do this. They didn't believe me. They were like, oh, you wouldn't fucking do something like that. It's crazy. And again, he also had the audacity to say that all the other Arab nations were down for this. It would be totally down for this. And of course not. They're not. Egypt came out and said they're fucking not. They don't want anything to do with this shit. As a matter of fact, it's a bad idea. If they go through with this, if Trump gets his fucking plan, Israel, its credibility as a nation towards the other Arab nations will fall apart, right? They will be no longer considered legitimate and would 100% lose all their little bit of respect that they had in the first place that they've been trying so hard to garner from not just the surrounding nations, but a lot of other nations around the world. And again, fuck those people who told me that Trump somehow was a better option than Harris for Palestine. Or, even worse, telling me that they're exactly the fucking same. Fuck those people. They're not exactly the fucking same. They clearly are not exactly the fucking same. Harris, Biden, they would have never said anything like this shit. No Democrat has ever fucking done anything like this. And not even in the manner of which, like, you might be able to argue that the Democrats have done fucked up geopolitical stuff and taken over certain countries using the FBI, CIA through like more insidious like means or whatever the fuck. But this is so blatant. Like that would be a whole undercover, like years-long operation with like really insidious, like complex moving abstract parts and stuff like that, versus this guy who just goes on TV and tells you straight to your face, get the fuck out of your country. I'm about to build a bunch of casinos where you live. Like, there's two whole separate things, right? The Democrats would have never. There's nothing you can tell me that would have convinced me otherwise, right? That's like the most like up-to-date stuff. I know that this what is it? So far, they've released 16 out of the 33 hostages that were scheduled to be released. Right? In my own personal opinion, that's a lot more than I thought would happen. I thought there was going to be 0 hostages, considering how dire the situation has looked for such a long time. I'm glad I'm wrong about that though, and I hope I continue to be wrong. I hope that the ceasefire holds up despite Trump's pressure and actions to try to make that shit fall apart. And what I have here says, Hamas's announcement violates the ceasefire deal and has ordered military readiness in Gaza, unfortunately. I was trying to find, oh, here it is. This is what Hamas believes Israel did. Alright, Hamas is accusing Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement by targeting Palestinians in Gaza with airstrikes and refusing to allow the entry of shelter supplies specified in the ceasefire agreement. These violations have led Hamas to delay the next hostage release and question Israel's commitment to the terms of the agreement. Right? I don't know if this actually is happening, because I know that a lot of the time when it comes to ongoing war and conflict in regions like this, information, especially brand new information, could be shifty, right? It could be wrong, it could be right. It's really hard to believe, and as well as able to decipher whether or not there's some type of like purposeful misinformation thing going on at play, right? We don't know yet. That's all I'm trying to say is we don't know yet. It's a little bit too early to just take the word of Hamas or Israel for face value right away. Don't do it. You threw me off with that second one right there. You said, man, off subject, you should add the Punisher one here too. Or not, because I would spam that sound. Yeah, no, I have to restrict it from being spammed. But I'll try to see if I can find the Punisher one. I'm not sure where I can find that shit. Somebody else made that song. And it's on the what is it, the app, so I gotta look! Let me take a sip of the agua. Ay. I want to call out, before I move on, this is a little bit less important than what I've been talking about. I want to call out Jon Stewart again. Because this motherfucker, I had a whole tangent, I had literally a whole stream dedicated to talking shit to him right now. I mean, not right now, but around something very specific, despite the fact that I love Jon Stewart for most of my life. I mean, still have some respect, I guess, love for Jon, but Jon, my guy, Jon, what is happening? I feel like the liberal media sphere is just fucking, they're just repeating, they just don't know what they're doing wrong. They just keep making the same fucking mistakes, and they seem small, but they echo so fucking loud. And again, I want to say, well, that was last week. It was a couple weeks ago. I don't know when he released it. Jon Stewart made a whole video apparently calling us out, the liberals, Democrats, or whatever, for using the word fascist too much. Apparently, we were over-exaggerating, or we were having an overreaction to every action that Trump does and calling it fascist, right? Trying to imply that the reason why it's not actually fascist is because it's somehow within his legal means, right? Just a poor fucking argument, right? And, you know, like, I just don't understand how he could still dance around, like, acknowledging his clear fascist ideologies and actions and authoritarian ideologies and actions, while also saying some of them in that video, right? But saying it as something else. It's not fascism. It's not something good, but it's not fascism. But then, a week or two later, he's coming out with this clip talking about how America is entering its monarchy era because of Trump. Like, bro, do you not see how this doesn't make any fucking sense? How, first of all, you're gonna criticize people for labeling something as it is, right? So I guess, you know, if we don't label something as it is, it further muddies the water of discussion around that thing, right? So we don't even know what the fuck we're discussing anymore. Now, you want to say that he's doing all these other things that would fit within the realm of fascism still, but refuse to call him fascism. You'd go as far as to call him a fucking king, right? You would go as far as accuse him to establishing a fucking monarchy, but still, I guess, call people out for saying that he's a fascist? Like, the fuck? Is he everything but fascist? Like, how is it that you are simultaneously a king, an authoritarian, a fucking tyrant, like all these other things, but he's not fascist? What the fuck what are you saying? Like, it just pisses me off. And this is what I mean. This is a go back on calling out, I guess I'm calling out as some random fucking person, the left-wing media sphere, for not doing enough. They're not standing up and doing enough. They're not calling out the people for what it is. They're not calling out these fucking evil motherfuckers and labeling them as they should be labeled out of fear of, disrespecting them, or out of fear of, losing your own credibility as being a moral high horse rider, or a fucking white knight in shining armor who doesn't ever say bad things about people and treats them with fucking respect and kindness, even if they're absolutely insane and they're a psychopathic murderer. Like, I just don't get that. I don't understand that shit. I don't get it. Fuck you, Jon Stewart, for being one of those types of people. You disappointed me, because I always thought, like I said before, I always thought in my life that when something like this would happen, that out of all the people I would see that had some type of celebrity-ism or power or whatever influence, that I would see Jon Stewart fighting against it and calling it out for what it is, instead of telling everybody else to stop calling it out for what it is. You're hurting their feelings. It's very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. I've learned a lot from you, my guy. Jon Stewart was probably the very first introduction into politics in general, right? Because I would watch him on Comedy Central. He'd be playing sometimes. But this ain't it, Chief. Right? Let's move back to Musk, right? The guy who likes his leaky big balls. Fucking FEMA out here being accused by Elon for somehow using $59 million meant to be used for disaster relief to house illegal immigrants in luxury hotels, right? Absolutely absurd claim. Where does this come from? Well, apparently he suggests that Big Balls and his team found a whole host of proof and evidence that the government and organizations like FEMA have been stealing taxpayers' dollars in order to waste it on crazy, extravagant shit like this, which doesn't even make sense, because why would you want to spend all that money to put immigrants in luxury hotels? What do you gain out of that? What do you gain out of that? Doesn't even make sense when you think about it. But regardless, that's his accusation, and he claims that Big Balls found evidence that this is the case. Where's the evidence, you may ask? Well, we don't got it. Elon hasn't showed anybody anything that they found. As a matter of fact, they're not telling us what they're even looking for or the things that they've been seeing. Like, we don't know shit about what they've been doing. So they just went into the room and closed the fucking door and locked it and told y'all to fuck off. They're just doing whatever it is what they want to do. We'll only find out, I guess, in due time, but it's probably gonna take a really fucking long time. And at this rate, I don't even know if we will actually ever figure it out. At least not within this administration. You might find out if, you know, Trump ends up not becoming in office anymore and gets beaten by a Democrat or a left-leaning person, right? But this is what the truth is. The money that Musk is saying was being used to house these illegal immigrants was congressionally approved funding, right? Specifically for the purpose to help deal with the overflow of immigrants in blue states such as New York, specifically New York City. And why were they having an overflow of immigrants? Why were they having an overflow of immigrants? Because last time I checked, New York is really far away from the southern border, no? Well, I'll tell you why they were having an overflow of fucking immigrants. It's because red states on the border, as some type of ploy or tool to get back at left-leaning states or blue states, decided that it would be just a funny fucking idea to put all these immigrants onto buses, right? And these aren't illegal immigrants, by the way. They're not. The people who came here through the asylum-seeking process. But they decided to shove them all into a bus and send them over to fucking New York City and just drop them off on the street and tell them to fuck off, deal with it, figure it out on your own. So, Congress had to whip up some funding to help deal with all this kind of shit, right? And, again, they weren't illegal. They're here through the asylum-seeking process. And two, the money wasn't being used in luxury hotels. Not even close. Doesn't make fucking sense, right? Doesn't make any sense at all. So how the fuck would they even be able to, because they're accusing them taking it from disaster relief, right? So the other, that leads and segues into another accusation that the right has been doing. FEMA has been not able to help people as much, or even going as far as to stealing shit from the citizens and ripping them off and holding them in debt or whatever, because the funding that Congress has been supposedly giving them was being stolen in corrupt fashion by politicians to be used for other shit. That's the claim. That's the claim. Right? That's the excuse for all this. For them being able to do all this. Is that they believe that these agencies are taking approved funding that has been, like, certified, stuff that's public, right? Publicly available information. All this stuff, he's trying to take all this and make it seem like there's corruption happening towards people who don't understand these processes or haven't even bothered to check up or this, what the fuck is even going on in the first place. They'll just take his word for it. Right? Let's just take his fucking word for it. Him and his goons, Big Balls and Little Balls and Hairy Balls and Sweaty Balls. Those are his, like, fucking, all his little 20-year-old goons that are running around the Doge department and busting in fucking, what was it, the education department doors, talking about how they own the place. Fucking Musk out here rubbing his balls all over the fucking United States. He's saying it's his. That's literally what he's doing. That's literally what he's doing. A fucking bastardo. Anyways, here's another piece of news. I want to gloat about being right with this. Because I told y'all I told y'all. Let me get some more water before I go into this. But not too long ago, I mentioned that the mayor of New York City, pretty sure it's New York City, yeah, that he did a 180 on his policy positions and decided, you know what? I will support Donald J. Trump in his immigration endeavors, despite the fact that this is like, you know, him going against his own policies and party's policies, right? I said, why would he do this, right? I asked that question and I gave an answer for it. Why would someone do this? And I see this repeating pattern amongst people who were elected democratically. I mean, not democratically, but that were elected as a Democrat. Democratically. Yeah, I guess it was democratically. But they were elected as a Democrat and they ran as a Democrat. And they ran with specific policies and platforms, and they said that they're running on this to represent the people who voted for them. Right? I keep seeing this pattern where some of them do a 180, completely betray their party, right? And side with Trump on some crazy shit. And what I've noticed, the similar pattern amongst all these people, is that not far down the line after they do this comes out some criminal charges or accusations against them, right? Not too long after that, you'll see like, oh, this person has been like, you know, accused of sexually assaulting this person or that person, or maybe they've been like corruption charges for this and that or whatever. I was not wrong about this when it comes to New York mayor. I said specifically, I believe that he's doing this because, you know, a lot of the people who end up turning around and supporting Trump end up getting pardoned, they end up getting like sentences commuted, they end up getting support and help or whatever it is for any shitty situation they might encounter, because they'll turn it around and say that that's just an attack on them from the left, right? And that this is just them protecting their own when it comes to this kind of shit, right? So I'm just saying, I think the most corrupt of the left, the supposed left-leaning politicians throughout this country, right? If you see them flipping and doing backflips for Donald J. Trump again, you could probably expect to find out that they had some type of criminal shit going on. Because, look, it paid out for him. It paid out for the New York mayor. His charges got dropped. They were dismissed. They used the same shit actually that Donald J. Trump had used recently, which was his conditional discharge, right? Which, technically speaking, Trump is not eligible for. It might even be the case that this mayor is not even eligible for it, because you're only able to get that if you've never committed a crime before. Right? If you've never been convicted of a crime before, then you're allowed to get that shit. Somehow, Trump was able to get that after being convicted of a crime. It's bizarre. And if you don't know what conditional discharge is, it just means that it's like a slap on the wrist. It means that you didn't never done anything before as your first offense. What we'll do is we'll just give you a fucking warning and we'll let you go back out. If you do this again, we're gonna throw the book at you. That's basically what it is. And we're not gonna have a trial, we're not gonna have any of this stuff, we're just gonna throw the book at you, you're gonna get maximum sentence, and that's it. End the story. But, you know, of course, the exceptions to the rules are always there, and that would be Trump. Trump is the only exception to the rule, I guess, at this moment in time. And anyone that he extends his protection to, his shield to. I got some good news though. No, one bit of good news. Trump's old ally turned enemy turned ally, I guess, kind of. I'm not exactly sure anymore. But Trump's protection couldn't extend too far, or he just didn't try to protect him enough, because Steve Bannon pleaded guilty. He pleads guilty. However, I guess this is not good news. I forgot that he avoided this. It kind of sucks ass. He avoids his jail time. he was pleading guilty to border wall fraud. So he was part of the campaign that Trump had during his first administration to get this wall going. Right? They were trying to build that fucking wall. Made a lot of promises, did a lot of shady stuff, right? Did some fraud here and there, right? And now, you know, he admitted to taking donor money literally in Manhattan not too long ago. But he pleaded guilty, and again, conditional discharge. So I take what I said back before. Trump did. His protections did work once again. Even he got conditional discharge. These corrupt ass motherfuckers, bro. Seriously. Seriously. Conditional discharge. And how much damage did he do? You may be asked, right? Did he hurt anybody? He's getting conditional discharge for defrauding people for $15 million. $15 million. He stole $15 million from people. And he gets a slap on the wrist. He walks away. I guess this is not good news at all. Fuck, this is actually shitty news. Jesus Christmas, bro. Well, do what we can, I guess, out here in the United States of America, but it doesn't seem like things are going too hot for us. I feel like we're sick. We're sick. I do have this interesting last video. We can go into this. I figured I could also watch this while maybe possibly playing some Marvel Rivals. Because I think I could do. Actually, you know what? No, let's do this. Face to face. We're gonna do this right now.
It's so easy.
All right. So again, Luke Beasley back at it again with we got another episode of his version of The Grudge or whatever the fuck it is. Anyways, this episode's a little different. Instead of having a one-on-one discussion surrounded by two laptops, which is getting boring, they decided to lock each other into the same room and hang out for a whole 24 hours and see what the fuck that went. And it was pretty gruesome. Not gruesome, they didn't kill each other. It was pretty intense. Compared to all this other stuff, it was pretty, it pissed me off. To say the least. So, we're gonna look at this, we're gonna watch a bit of it, and yeah.
What? It was like 13 seconds ago. Today we'll be undertaking a challenge like never before.
I'm so the fact that you think we're not chill and we get upset at every little thing.
One liberal. Is that like all, when you look at me, is that all you see? Two MAGAs.
Luke, come on. This is why you get defensive. Are you kidding me?
Trapped in a room for 24 hours. And we see what happens.
You damn liberals all over the place doing liberal stuff.
Is it not?
Go to the bedroom and just take a breather.
I think I need to.
Damn liberals!
You can't leave. That's sort of the main one. And don't literally kill each other, that too.
You know, it's the fact that you would even just say that. It's what pisses me off.
There's a currency with women.
Everything is it's like that. That's all it is.
Yeah, we're going to be hearing a lot of that, by the way.
Isabella is oddly compassionate. Her love for animals made her avoid eating meat for years. Well, until she met Josiah.
So the biggest obstacle is just the time. How are we going to fill the time? An idea we had was
they are despicable.
Let's come up with.
She is in an abusive relationship, 150,000%. He is a degenerate, fucking person. What is it? Confident. I feel like he has confidence problems in himself, which is what leads him to being like this. But he's incredibly misogynistic. He is, of course, incredibly MAGA, very right-leaning, and believes all this, like, crazy ideas of how to control women, treat them like dogs and shit like that. That's the type of mentality that he has, and she, of course, is super into a lot of the, a lot of that, like, right-wing stuff for some reason. I don't know what it is. So, of course, naturally, it leads her into believing a lot of the skewed views about how women ought to be, or how women function and think and stuff like that, that the men on the far right end up subscribing to. And we're gonna see how, I guess, he pushes this onto her through this video.
The roast for one another. I didn't feel comfortable with writing a roast for Isabella. Isabella didn't for me.
Speed it
so
up
we
a
got,
little bit too.
I'm not gonna name who, but somebody else to write the roast, and then we read it.
for each other. But that was barely anything. I mean, 2 inches doesn't really count as eating meat.
Damn.
Say these things about my husband. When Luke goes into right-wing spaces, they don't even make fun of his sexuality, which is by far the easiest thing to do.
I made a little bet with myself going into this little over-under bet about how many times they'd bring up that.
They make fun of him for being stupid.
You know, one of the things that a bunch of people expressed was like sending Isabella messages of support almost. How would you define it? Like, get out of that relationship, you're stuck.
A lot of people express on the internet and will even write into Isabella after seeing her interact with her husband Josiah that they're concerned for her and just sort of the way that he talks about being in control and, you know, you have to do these duties and stuff to that effect. I've said that they don't seem to be an abusive relationship. Isabella seems very pumped about their little arrangement, but I thought given
I know
how long,
he's trying to be very optimistic about it. She's definitely in an abusive relationship. Like,
We're gonna be
it's
together.
so clear
Then
as
I should bring
day.
it up.
My God,
She's being
he is
victimized. When you see those
100%.
comments,
He's
what's your reaction?
100%.
Like, how do you process it? Is there any feeling where you're like, ooh, am I really putting that out there? You're like, I don't care, those people are stupid.
Yes, I can be hard on Isabella, but I'm not abusive with Isabella. And if we're talking about abuse, then obviously that needs to be corrected immediately. And it really makes me sick that these are the accusations that are happening and that people are calling for my wife to leave me because of this.
I mean, you guys don't know the relationship, and
Like,
sometimes being
these
submissive
people-
as a wife, sometimes you're.
Like, I would like to believe that this is all really actually just a show. I would love to believe that. But there's no shot they're fucking lying about this from the way that they
not
react.
going to get the things that you exactly
It's-
want to have
they're
happen.
If they
But
are
guess what?
faking it, if they're all being dishonest just for a show, they are one of the best fucking actors I've ever seen.
Trusting him is the best
Both of them.
thing I can do for the family, and if there's one thing I'm correct about, it is trusting my husband. So you call it abuse, I call it a happy marriage.
How do you define abuse? Does it have to be physical?
No, not just necessarily. Like, if a girl is just crying, really upset, and you're just tearing her down, and you continue to just tear her down, then yeah, I would say that's pretty abusive. She probably feels trapped, like she can't leave, and you're just like continue to just like shred her apart. I would classify that as like a very low tier form of abuse, but yeah.
Low tier form of abuse? Like, listen to that. That's already him trying to like make the shit that he knows he's like doing, right? He's trying to make it seem like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you know, it's like barely abuse. Like, that's just like fucking, you know, you're running a little conversation at this point. How do you add the reward sounds on Twitch? You use I use sound alerts. Go to soundalerts.com and you could just sync up everything there.
I still think so. Something I have to deal with. There are not a lot of couples who are in the MAGA space, I guess you could say, who talk about the relationship. I do. I put myself out there. I know that means that there's going to be criticism. There are going to be people who disagree with me, and that's something that I
There's
signed
a
up
reason
for.
why they
I get
never
it.
should
I
put
think
it out there is because they're all abusing their fucking wives. And if they put it out there, the whole world will see that shit. It'd be fucking embarrassed.
that are
I'm fucking scared that their wives are gonna let slip something.
Society has gotten so fragile, and people view criticisms or they view critiques or they view me correcting my wife as something that's abusive when it's not. It's just me demonstrating what I want in our relationship and what I don't want and what I view unacceptable and what I view as disrespectful, and people disagree on where that line is, but it's so far from abuse. I would never want to.
It's
put her in a
crazy. I
situation
feel
where
like
I'm
these.
you're not leaving until
This
you get
is a
this through
good
your
insight
soul and blah, blah,
into
blah. Like,
the mentality
we do practice like
of
giving
the
each other
average
space
like
often,
MAGA,
and that's what we've learned is pretty
like
effective
supporter, but
with
the young MAGA
figuring
supporter.
things out.
And also even like writing things down, like
Big on journaling.
Yeah. It is such a great way to start the day because there's so many things for us to be thankful for. Like, oh my gosh, this pickleball court didn't have my exact drink I wanted. Cry about it.
Yeah.
There's people in Uganda, there's starving kids. Okay, shut up.
True.
Right?
Isabel has recently learned that she is a chronic complainer. I've known this for the last.
This right there too. This right there. Chronic complainer. Here it is. He's priming her trying to convince her that she has a character flaw. And that character flaw is what leads her to voicing out her concerns, right? The things that bother her, right? Trying to make it seem like she should not be saying any of that because she should be grateful. Like, always grateful for the situation that she's already in, right?
2.5 years.
That's what that is.
So I
It's
realized,
mental
wow,
manipulation.
I will just bitch and bitch
It's fucked.
and
It's
bitch
toxic
about
shit.
everything and want zero solutions.
But I've noticed
But the thing is that I bet you if you ask her what it was that she was bitching about, it was probably like legitimate fucking things. Like, she's probably constantly doing everything around the fucking house. All he does is he kind of works and comes home and does jack shit. Doesn't help out with fucking anything. He doesn't even say thank you for half the stuff that he does. Like, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what fucking happens. Because he explains that that's all the responsibilities of a female anyway. So I know that's what happens. He believes that that's what they're supposed to fucking do.
preparing to see
And
you
they can't
in my brain,
complain
I'm having to
about
like
it.
put up a little shield around myself often because it feels like every 3 seconds you're gonna say something
Negative?
like what I'm wearing or like what we're doing or
I'm so,
you know.
it's so annoying to me. I know it's so draining.
Yeah.
So I need to stop it.
That's good. That's a great.
I'm a negative ass bitch.
No, don't manifest that.
No, I'm a positive ass bitch.
Yeah, I'm striving to be a positive.
Positively a positive ass bitch.
There you go. I guess.
This is so
Interesting how much
bizarre.
our
This is actually
political
really fucking weird.
endeavor or us politically associating turns into just a personal thing, personal critique. But I do think that sort of makes sense because I've long believed that politics is just an embodiment of your values as it pertains to particular policies. So a lot of our discussions increasingly don't really center around does this policy work or not, but instead just what it means to be good to people and how we should treat people.
You don't ever even really get into fucking policies. As a matter of fact, I feel like at heart, most people end up leaning, like, if you were to remove all politics and shit aside and just ask them, like, questions about their personal feelings about the world and what they expect from others and how they feel like things ought to be or whatever, they would describe some pretty left-leaning progressive stuff. But that's my suspicion.
As we tried to fill the time, we played cards, we entertained their daughter, and even watched old videos of Isabella.
My favorite movie star has to be, I like Angelina Jolie. She's really good, inspiring. She's gorgeous too. Inspiring. And my favorite male.
You had such a spirit.
I hope you're watching this, Taylor Lautner. You suck. And Taylor Swift too. You suck too.
I don't know why this keeps disappearing like that.
Maybe Lady Gaga.
This cuts in.
Romance.
Well, I'm gonna put it back up right there. There you go.
We are
Oh, I
watching
just
the
got this
Texans
video.
Chiefs NFL game.
I just got this video. I forgot that I want to watch this too. Oh man. If you guys want to keep watching this one, or would you rather watch something about Elon's radicalization? Because I got 2 videos I'm stuck between. They're both pretty lengthy. Oh, fuck. You know what? I'm gonna flip a coin. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna flip a coin. Where's my lucky
This
coin?
cuts in.
Oh, shit.
What to me is one of
There it is. Ow! Just scratched my fucking finger on this motherfucking mic. Alright, so heads. Heads will be this video. The Elon, not the Elon video, the Luke Beasley video. Tails is gonna be the Elon video. Right? Damn, I can't flip a fucking coin for my life! Oh, I'm gonna fucking die in the apocalypse when it happens. There's no shot I'm surviving anything. For it to count, I need to catch it. And I have to like flip it and catch it and put it on my hand and flip it over. So... heads is this one.
Game, go Texans.
Yeah, guys, you know what? Just because you support a team doesn't mean you're on the team. I don't get the sports thing. I almost forgot that we were supposedly watching a sports game during this entire 24 hours thing because I was too busy, I don't know, being a mother and not caring about random men in like tight, weird pants faking each other to try to throw balls. and not caring about watching a sports game during this entire...
She has legitimate criticisms that she's bottling up inside, right? Legitimate problems for her relationship that she would like to voice to her boyfriend. But her boyfriend's too fucking insane, and even more so probably violent, to actually acknowledge any of those criticisms because they're under the belief that this is just what the mom has to fucking do. She has to suck it up and take up this responsibility 100% full stop. No exceptions, right? Unless she's in the hospital dying, right? That's the only way around that. She's clearly voicing her frustration right now by saying this, that she had to focus on helping the baby and she couldn't even really be involved in any of that kind of stuff because she's too busy being a fucking mother and focusing on more important things, insinuating that her husband is doing nothing important, that he isn't concerned about her responsibilities of being a fucking parent at the moment. He's more concerned with the football game.
24 hours thing because I was too busy, I don't know, being a mother and not caring about random men in like tight, weird pants spanking each other to try to throw balls around.
That was nothing else but criticism launched directly towards his fucking face. Because I can't be anything else.
I used to be down here.
And now you're more authoritative. Okay, so you're like split. All right, very interesting.
Muy interesante.
All right, now mine is more in the libertarian direction, but not super far, and then obviously on the left, but kind of center, which is probably exactly where I would have guessed it would be.
All right, mine is authoritarian left.
Are you serious?
A smidge to the left.
Honestly, this is the most shocking thing I've witnessed in my entire lifetime. Did I ever think that my husband, Josiah, would be authoritarian on the left side? No, I still don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. I don't even know what to say. Retake it.
Oh, that's really interesting.
That is... How are you on the left wing?
Well, because
What
you know,
got you there?
I'm like really big on like
Anti-corporations.
healthcare, very anti-corporation.
This is what I mean.
I'm like,
I still don't understand
This
it.
is what I mean.
That is...
Like,
how are you on the left wing?
I feel like
well, because you
What
know,
got
like
you there?
inside their soul, deep down somewhere, and Luke, I think Luke picks it up. I think that's why he even does this whole thing in the first place, is that there is a human inside there, right? Despite the fact that they've surrounded themselves and enveloped themselves in evil and hatred and all this kind of stuff, that essentially they want the best for their kid, the best for their family, they want the best care, they want the best technology available, they want the best access to anything, all affordable stuff, right? They want all these things. That actually is the goal of a lot of progressive movements and stuff like that. And is actually not the goal of a lot of the movements that they support. Right? But, again, they're deluded.
There.
I'm like really big on like
Anti-corporations.
healthcare, very anti-corporation.
They don't
That's
trust.
interesting. Cool. People always asking me,
They don't
why
trust
are you,
like that.
Why are you taking such an interest in this? Why are you trying to change them? This is why. I know there's something there that shouldn't be MAGA.
The interesting part about my policy is that sometimes when Luke and I have a conversation, we do agree on a lot of policy, including things like healthcare and those systems that the government has in place. And I'm definitely not a hate all socialism type of guy. Definitely understand the benefits of socialism and agree with them for the most part because it's a very American first thing. We are putting
I was a little
our
distracted
fellow
with the dad
Americans
thing.
first. We are prioritizing
But
them.
he's
And also
fucking
I
full of
definitely
shit.
understand those systems we agree on a lot of policy, including things like healthcare and those systems that the government has in place. And I'm definitely not a hate all socialism type of guy. Definitely understand the benefits of socialism and agree with them for the most part because it's a very American first thing. We are putting our fellow Americans first.
I know he could have put up a clip that showed him completely.
I am like so against corporations,
doing the
so against
opposite of
corporate
what he
America.
said right now.
And I guess that is something that is a little bit more liberal. The worker unions, those type of people who have risen against the corporations,
So
have
full
always
of
rooted
shit.
for them. So it was a shocker, but the more I think about it, the more I realize it's not super shocking.
I'm actually shocked by your results right now. Like, shocked.
Are you doubting y'all's relationship over it?
Obviously not.
We're getting into the night. I'm bored. I'm tired. Let's pep it up a little bit and dance.
I need to tune out the gayness.
Oh shit.
We just talked about earlier in the day not being a Debbie Downer.
Like what? Why?
Booing all over people trying to have fun.
Avoid.
Why are they
disengage, get on my phone, act like I didn't hear it.
So
is a long
deeply
question, okay?
enveloped in their hatred. At every moment, it's instinct. It's become an instinct for her to react to that with hatred. That's how ingrained it is in her body, in her soul. There's an instinctual response.
Don't touch her. Don't call me. What? When did he say that? When did she say that?
I never said that ever.
It's so easy. It's so easy.
It was so fucking dumb. This guy, her husband, is so quick to try to make it seem like he's exerting his masculinity. He was like, don't touch her. Don't touch her. All he did was like try to get her attention. Like, why are you so quick to act like that?
What? Like, it was like 13 seconds ago. Not 13 seconds. It was like 2 minutes ago.
He didn't even touch her.
That? Cool. She did that? Mm-hmm.
Look at how retarded they act.
I never said that ever.
It's so easy. It's so easy.
Look at that.
It was like 13 seconds ago. Not 13 seconds. It was like 2 minutes ago.
I don't remember that.
Cool.
She did that?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did you
Do you remember?
I think I may have. By accident.
May have.
You sorry, but now that you think that you have, wonderful.
What was that about? What made her say it?
The fuck are you talking about, bitch?
Oh, that's whenever I completely tuned you out and went that way.
I understand that I haven't.
Of course you
lived the
tuned
longest
out
life,
because it made you feel
but
uncomfortable.
In the years I have been alive, one thing I do know for sure, based off of that experience, is it's really not that difficult.
So disgusting, man.
Listen, guys, I have not seen the video
It's so
evidence of me
disgusting.
calling him that word. I need to tune out the
I haven't seen
footage speaks for
the
itself, okay?
I haven't seen the video. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. There's no shot you don't remember something you said less than a minute ago. You know exactly what you're doing.
So,
You know exactly what you're
show me
doing.
proof. I need to tune out the
This stuff
I'm sure
is
that
so
the team
stupid. You're
can
gonna sit
find
here and be
the
like,
proof.
show me the proof. Show me the proof. They should have just pulled that shit out immediately.
I need to tune out the maybe I did, maybe I didn't.
The
I need
fuck?
to tune out the maybe I apologized. I need to tune out
Avoiding their accountability in
Penis.
every single twist and turn that they
maybe I
possibly
didn't. But
can.
from what I'm seeing right now, from looking back on the situation, I don't think I did.
Disgusting.
I need to tune out the and listen, if you like dancing, why are you offended if I make fun of it, right?
Yeah, my thing is, both of y'all could have a much more happy life if you would just
Not
chill.
say that word.
No, not that word. Chill. Have fun. Dance. Laugh.
We do.
Relax.
Yeah, we do.
You both get so
We do.
uptight
We
with
literally
the
have
slightest
family-
bit of
Bitch,
anything.
you know.
It's so funny because like
What the fuck?
me and my husband have daily
Fudge.
dance parties. What the fudge? We literally have daily dance parties with our daughter every day. With a speaker on, we have so much fun.
Gotta be a lie.
You think we're not chilling when we
Every
get upset
day
at
guys
every
do a
little thing?
dance
That's so
party
funny.
with your
It's
toddler.
production. My point
She's
is,
in a
I said a
fucking
word that
crib.
offended you,
Nope, it didn't.
but you brought it up. And I even said,
Oh, no, I just said- no.
sorry.
And that's not
Shocking.
even the problem. Like, why are you even saying this? This isn't even the problem. This is the stupidest shit in the world.
Oh, stop. I just said, hey, I have a particular rule. Don't call me that.
Maybe they're
Doesn't
just
offend
too
me. I'm telling
stupid
you
to get through
that's what
that.
I'm
That's
telling you
so
you have to
that.
do.
I don't even remember that.
I genuinely hate how much this comes up on the show right now. And the reason I just have to make a point of it is because she doesn't seem to understand the difference between
She's
I'm
never
trying to
gonna
regulate your
understand,
speech,
though.
I'm trying to tell you what you can and can't say, versus I'm trying to demonstrate to you, with that being an example,
It's
or
like-
an example.
It's like they
of
literally
how you
kidnapped
might-
her, right, and brought her to some like FBI black was a site or whatever the fuck, and they did some experimental like super soldier Captain America experiment on her. But instead of turning her into like some beast of a war machine, they fucking turned her into a fucking like propaganda rhetoric, fucking brain broken, mindless NPC that they could just put behind a camera, and now she can't even be bothered to act like a normal person. Like in any situation, it's impossible for her. It's impossible for her. And her husband is supposed to be, I guess, her regulator or some shit, the overseer, to make sure that she doesn't fucking completely snap and go ape shit on society, right? To make her able to kind of be ingrained in society and be able to like eat and have a job and do all that kind of shit. I don't even know how she makes money. Like, I guess it's her grifting. That's how she makes money. But what the fuck? Like, how does she even? How? How is this? Where does she come from? She feels so fake.
I have
Everything
space
about
to
it
be a
feels
more
so
compassionate
fake.
person to the people around you. If we can't do the baby step of using overtly
To the point where
derogatory
like
terms
every
about
single reaction and response from her, everything just feels like it's ChatGPT.
the person that you're saying that you're wanting to be in good graces of.
It's like
then how on earth
ChatGPT
is the
stuck
rest of
on
the growth
blood
possible?
sports mode.
That's all. That's very simple. No offense, nothing. I'm just telling you. Just like in every situation ever, you have certain social guidelines, relationship
Let me set
requests.
some boundaries here. Do not ever call me a MAGA podcaster ever.
Okay.
Because it offends me.
Bro, Luke has so much self-control, because I would have told him to get the fuck out of the building right now. After hearing that shit, like, you know, she knows what the problem is here, and she's trying to twist this shit into something that she can use against him to make it seem like she's not wrong, I guess. Like, really? He's asking you not to call him a fucking slur against gay people, like a derogatory term against gay people, and you're out here acting like him calling you a MAGA podcaster is the same thing? Somehow that's the same fucking shit? Like, come on. And you know that. She knows that. She's being disingenuous right here. She knows that.
Oh, interesting.
Like, why is she trying to fish for a gotcha in a situation like this? She's stuck in an online debate podcaster mode where she has to. Her entire personality is just defend these ideologies and represent them to the T as much as I humanly can.
Yeah, this has been my life recently. These conversations on repeat. It's like repetition is so necessary. I'm glad we got this on camera, because you guys thought she just wasn't going to say it anymore. No, okay, this is going to take a while. This has been years and years of her using this word. Constant habit that we're trying to break. I'm just trying to get her not to.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard. I know that from experience. I remember growing up, back when I was a kid in elementary school, like a little fucking idiot in third, fourth grade or whatever the fuck, access to the internet on sites like 4chan, and hearing my classmates say some of the most fucked up shit I've ever heard in my life, right? Just to be funny. I know after growing up in a situation like that, that's not that hard to stop saying bad words. It really isn't. They be acting like this is an addiction, like she's on crack, and being able to stop saying the F slur or the N word or all these other things, that it's like if she stops doing it for a day, she goes into physical withdrawal symptoms and she starts vomiting on the floor. Like, bro, it's not that fucking hard to not call someone the F word. Like, it's not that hard. Don't give me this excuse that she's been doing this forever. Like, I could see her instinct is to be ChatGPT, blood sports, fucking MAGA crazy lunatic in response to everything, even day-to-day, regular-ass conversations, right? But still, it's not that hard to get her to stop saying that. There's no reason for her to be using that shit like that. It's not that difficult. I swear, I know it's not that difficult. As someone who has done, I guess, conversational rehab when I was younger, as a child, if I could do that as a child, you could figure it out as an adult.
It's a cuss, because I just feel like it's unladylike.
Which, Luke, let's be real. I really try to respect your boundaries.
She's 20-something years old.
Yeah,
She should be able to figure this out.
That we've talked about. Which
I'm
is
assuming she's at least 20-something years old, right?
Just as like a practice, as like a behavioral practice.
I thought it was the other word.
This is your fault.
What's the other word? All right, now picture from my perspective. I'm trying to like be silly, and I go like this. Oh, and then you're like, oh, we're not. Whatever you said. It's like, oh, what we talked about earlier.
No,
You just suck
Luke
the
is a
oxygen out of it a little
fucking
bit.
saint.
You have to acknowledge, it's hard to be like silly and fun when people do that.
As soon as I
He's
said it, I
a
was like, I'm sorry.
saint.
You didn't.
He's a saint because she is being so disgusting and disrespectful and fucking weaselly and lying straight to his fucking face about something, gaslighting him, literally gaslighting him in his own. I'm assuming this is his own place. Maybe they got this apartment somewhere. I don't know what the fuck, but literally gaslighting him with her husband, and you know he's calm enough to not turn this into some crazy ass argument and really go off the fucking walls.
Yeah, you didn't, but okay. I'm just letting you practice so that you know when it happens. I want to let you know because I could tell you didn't realize.
You want to like go to the bedroom and just take a breather?
I think I need to.
Oh yeah, I just did that because I was coughing. Thank you for reminding me I was muted. I was laughing, I was saying, you can't vote out which we didn't vote in. Just like the old saying, you can't kill what's already dead. Right? I'm going to switch over to this video. Take a break from the other one, because I'm not going to lie, that was a little bit too retarded for my brain.
Ooh,
But I do have this up. And it's a conversation with Ezra Klein and Kara Swisher, who I think did a lot of like investigational work with Elon, right? She's been reporting on him for decades, according to this little blurb. And they had an interesting conversation about how Elon became what he is today.
The deeper question here, because there are all these tactics and strategies, but towards what? When he's blowing up rockets, he is trying to make rockets that work in a certain way, and eventually he did. And I
hope you're doing well, Soviet, by the way.
Doing
welcome,
it. Tesla
welcome.
had many failures, but really did make better electric cars than anybody else made, and help the electric vehicle transition happen. What does he want now, though? What is this all in service of? What is the vision, in your view, that he's trying to effectuate with all this power that he now wields in the government?
It's not money. Money's not. I hate to say this. I hate it, but it's not that important to many of them, right? You know that it's not money. Some of them really like
everywhere.
money. That's
I think
for
we
sure.
could all agree.
But it's not money.
That Elon, when we look at how Elon was before compared to where he is now, I don't think we could have seen any of this coming. This seems complicated to use. Sound alerts? Really? I'll send you a little YouTube, I guess. Use it. Is that too hard? I'll send you a little YouTube to get through. It's probably easier to do it on a computer. I don't know if you're trying to figure it out on your phone. It might be a little hard to do on your phone.
Money brings, and it's power to decide. And I think it started off was
you also have to add the source into OBS to make it work or something. So Elon was on Rick and Morty as a hero. He wasn't a right-wing monster as he is now. Was this from a long time ago? An older episode?
It started off, I have some good ideas and I'd like to put them into place, and now it's I have all the ideas on every
if you're
topic,
on the phone, it's going to be hard as fuck. I think everything looks like way bigger than usual or something.
Or what I say goes. It's a very king-like attitude towards things, right?
2013 to 2014,
I got you. That we should have a functional CEO running our country that gets to decide everything.
It just goes to show that nobody expected this.
Screw Congress, screw the courts. We should have a king, essentially a CEO that has unlimited power. He also does have a really weird sense of mortality in a way that he wants to be legendary, right? He, again, go back to video games, but I think he wants the glory of it. He has those images in his head, and that's not by way of excuse, it's by way of explanation, right? That this is how he looks at himself, on a grand journey of the hero.
I've asked this before.
He's not a hero.
I've asked it in my little notifications thing. I don't know if anyone saw it when I went live. When was the last day that you spent alive? Right? I gotta reset my camera. But what was the last day that you spent alive, right? Where you didn't end up seeing or hearing Donald Trump or Elon Musk at some point during that day? Like, I feel like it's been so fucking long. And even when on days where I'm like on vacation, where I'm not trying to, I'm taking a break from like looking at the news every day and trying to like talk about that shit. Like 2013, 2014. Yeah, bro. Like now it's nearly impossible to spend a day without at least seeing or hearing their names or faces. It's on my TV, on my smart TV. It's like when I go out, maybe it's on a fucking billboard somewhere or some shit or whatever the fuck. It's fucking everywhere. They're fucking everywhere. Especially Elon. He's forcing his own image on everyone's phones and shit, because like even if you have X downloaded and you don't have him on there, even if you have him blocked, you'll still be getting notifications from his fucking profile and shit.
What to me is one of the mysteries of Musk, because the ideas that he seems committed to have changed. Peter Thiel, who is contemporary, they co-founded PayPal together, but Thiel has always been pretty far right. You can go back to things he was writing at Stanford. Musk, you go back to, say, the Obama era, he's a kind of standard Obama era liberal. He has a series of companies that are solving problems that are important to Obama era liberals. Those companies survive off of Obama era policies, from government contracts to electric vehicle subsidies,
super into Obama.
Loan guarantees. Tesla saved
He
by
went
an
from
Obama loan
left to right
guarantee.
real fast.
And
right?
I mean, and even in
Why?
20
The money. It's the money and the fame and the
17,
popular.
he joins an advisory board with Trump for Trump, and then he gets back off of it when Trump pulls out of the Paris Climate Accords. So you have someone who is running public-private partnerships, working endlessly with the government, working on things like climate change, and within a very compressed matter of years, moves very, very far to the right. So I agree that he wants power for his ideas, but it has always been a little bit mysterious to me what led to the striking radicalization in
You're
him.
right. And during Obama, he was supportive. When he joined that, we texted a lot during that period. He was on the Trump thing, and he was like, they're trying to do an anti-gay thing. I'm going to get in there and stop them. Like, he was very much, I need to be here to change Trump's mind. Only I can change it, kind of thing. He wasn't anti-Trump, but he certainly wasn't pro-Trump. I can tell you that. He was very much.
He was like, I could change his mind. Even back then, he knew I could manipulate this motherfucker to do what I want. Oh, I just saw it take a damn shit. Damn, Johnny, you trying to kill me? You trying to kill my ass, motherfucker? You know I'm like wheezing over here on the fucking dab from my ass. You trying to fucking make me? Well, I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't give a fuck. I just got to cough out the last one. I got it. I can do this shit. I got it. Oh, someone needs to hack into Twitter and just shut down forever. We would not lose much. I agree. Honestly, I would agree. And there'll be a power vacuum left for another company who could be like way better than these motherfuckers to take up the reins and become the next Twitter. And hopefully we gain. We have everything to gain and nothing to lose. As a matter of fact, we have something to gain from their loss. Losing them. I don't know if that made sense. Blue Sky. Yeah, I have a Blue Sky actually. I'm on there. I'm on almost all the social medias, I think, at this point, except for I'm on TikTok too, but I haven't really gotten around to engaging as much or putting as much content on there yet. But Blue Sky, I think it has some good potential, but I think the algorithm isn't as good. Kind of a little hard to get the my feed to start showing me like new content that I really like, so we'll see. But also I will say this, I don't really engage with those apps that much, other than for like, I guess, stream purposes or whatever, right? I'm not really using it and just scrolling through. Like I've never ever doom scrolled on these websites. Like, I don't do that. I don't really use these sites like that. But matter of fact, Twitter is net negative. Hasn't it been like that for a while now, though? Like, ever since he bought it, I don't think he's really been making money, like off this purchase. I feel like him taking over X has just actually been a financial burden. It's just been a useful tool, and he's been using it for other things. Like, I feel like he doesn't even care anymore.
With him around COVID, I saw a lot of changes. Around. I talked to him quite a lot, and people give me a hard time for having done that. I get it, but he wasn't that off the beaten track before. He was
actually, dude, Soviet dead ass. I could see a future. Where he tries to, using Doge, he tries to make X like some public service site, like Tool or some shit. So they integrate it into the government, and it'll be like the government's official like virtual Agora or something, and it'll be like federally funded or some crazy, like Congress will have to approve some funny. That would be fucked up, dude. Oh my god! Then he would just be cycling taxpayer money into his own fucking Oh, I hate this future. God damn it, man. Next thing you know, we're gonna have fucking Metal Gears and goddamn fucking what is it? The safe haven, the Haven or whatever. Oh fuck, dude. We're gonna have most Metal Gear Solid shit going on. These companies, Amazon's gonna be having these fucking mech robots fighting Disney robots and shit. Every phone would already come installed with X. Yes, mandatory. Mandatory.
He was typical of it. tech person, but doing more interesting
Can't
things.
delete it.
But there was a real shift during COVID. I noticed it. He got very upset. He got very like overly upset and overly dramatic. Look, if you think your
They made a
company
profit
is
finally
critical
1 year
for the
before they
future of
took
the human
over. I
race,
just
and
saw
then
that.
California
Damn, I
closes it
didn't
down
even
because
know
of
that.
COVID, you get in that mode. That's one. He sort of got very unreasonable. And in one interview I did with him, he started saying only a few thousand people or whatever, I don't remember precisely, were going to die from COVID. And he had read all the studies and he knew, and I didn't. He's never liked.
If I try to be tied to your System 64, if I try to delete it, my computer fucking breaks.
Unions or government or regulation. That
It's
goes
like
way back
deleting
for all these people.
system.
And so it became more profound during COVID, this idea.
Yeah,
I
what
think
you
the
just said. I
issues
just said it.
around
What
his,
am I? I'm
trans
high,
daughter
bro. It's a
seemed
second
to have
dad that
affected
Johnny
him
told me to
quite
take.
profoundly. I've noticed that in a number of tech people who have trans children. The second thing I think the Wall Street Journal has correctly reported on is his use of ketamine and other drugs. So I think that was another thing that seemed to have changed him. But although they all use drugs. All
I know a lot of people use ketamine.
I forgot.
Correctly
Bro,
reported on is his
oh
use
my
of ketamine.
god. Ketamine. Yo, Elon is addicted. Elon on ketamine. Yeah, he loves that shit. He loves that shit. Where's that video? It's a video, right? It's a video. I know it's a video. I'm not gonna be able to find it. I'll describe the video. He was in, what is it, one of the rallies, was it for Trump or whatever the fuck? He's like, just like doing the fucking high shit, like he was on crack. He's going, oh, pretty colors, like that kind of shit, like in the crowd. By himself, right? Clearly off his rocker on something, bro. Like, he's tweaked shit, he's tweaked for real, yeah, he's taking a lot of it. And, you know what? I will say this, though. Ketamine can be used for good and low microdoses. Is a very good antidepressant. FDA just came out with some special regulated like nose spray where you take a little bit every once in a while, right? So if it's regulated and you're doing it when a doctor prescribed it, it's all good. Elon definitely isn't doing that. He's tweaking. He's tweaking. That's a whole different level. He doesn't have fucking depression, so he's not gonna be able to tell me that he's taking this shit for medical fucking purposes, right? He's taking this shit because he feels fucking good. So I know his daily habits probably look something like this, right? He wakes up, he boofs some ketamine right up his ass, right? And then he gets right to Twitter, right? He hops right on X. He tries to see if everybody likes him today, and if his like meter is not high enough, right? He has to fucking boost that shit by injecting as many bots as he fucking can to spam everyone's phone with whatever information about himself he can find, right? And then, once he does that shit, he boofs some ketamine again, and he goes on to fuck over the United States government with his goons. That's literally just his day-to-day shit, right? And throughout the day, he just boofs more and more ketamine until he fucking collapses of exhaustion at the end of the day. And his goons have to pick him up, scoop him up off the fucking ground, and carry him to his bed. Or they kiss him on the fucking forehead and tuck him in. When I take Valium that I'm prescribed, it doesn't make... you said, yeah, to make you feel less anxious, not be high. When I take Valium I'm prescribed, it doesn't make you high, it makes you less anxious. Doctors give you doses that get you high. And that's not the... So yeah, exactly. These medications exist because they can be used as medication, you know. These drugs exist because it can be used in ways that will be beneficial for people. You know, it depends on the situation they're in. But, you know, just like with all things, too much of one thing is bad. It doesn't matter what it is. Too much of one thing is bad, right? Moderation is the key, right? You could abuse something. Yes, he's abusing them. You could abuse these things. You need to at least acknowledge that that's possible.
And other drugs. So I think that was another thing that seemed to have changed him. But although they all use drugs.
I know a lot of people use ketamine. They don't tend to turn that far
Correct,
politically right.
but I think he was doing it himself. He was like the world's expert, right? It was also staying up late at night. He has this weird proclivity to be up at 3 in the morning and obsessively. He's got an obsessive personality.
Dude,
we all have that element.
Not just as he has also an addictive personality because he's addicted to Twitter. He was addicted to Twitter before he bought it. I honestly believe that's the main driving factor in him deciding to go purchase Twitter. It wasn't because he wanted a government takeover. It wasn't because he wanted to spread propaganda. It wasn't even because of he wanted to make more money. I honestly think he bought it because he's fucking addicted to it, and he wants all the attention that he can possibly get. And he thinks that that's a great tool in order to get all that attention sent straight to him.
To us, but he's got it in spades.
And then it wasn't until after he acquired it that he started to realize all the benefits that he can gain
to that
from,
EV summit and
from his
invited
purchase
Mary
of
Barrett
Twitter.
instead,
Like,
and treated him shabbily. He was very upset, like very. I talked to him a lot about it, or he texted me, and other people did too. Other people noticed it too. And this was a summit that Biden.
He wanted to own the cringe, and he wanted to be the cringe lord on Twitter. Yeah, he wanted to be the he wanted to be the final boss, right? He wanted to be the final boss. He wanted to control he wanted to make sure that he would never get ratioed again. I mean, there's a whole mini documentary or series on YouTube somewhere about this motherfucker. But Biden at some point had a post about a football team, right? That had won. Apparently he put out his opinion or he was supporting it. I don't know, whatever it was. Biden made a post about a football team. Elon Musk also made a post about the same football team, right? His post didn't do as popular as Biden's. He was upset. What did he do? He boofed ketamine, and he decided to also bust up those numbers, right? And fake more engagement on his posts, make it top fucking priority numero uno on everyone's algorithm and fucking feed, right? And he even got some AI bots to join into the fray and also try to make it seem like everybody loves him. They're just posting in the comments, oh, Elon's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And what does he do after that? For a whole fucking month, I think it was 2 months actually, he decides to make it so that every motherfucker who is on X, everybody who has a profile, sees at minimum 2 posts either from Elon or about Elon, a positive one, obviously, at the top of their feed before they see anything else. For a whole, 2 fucking months before somebody called them out on that shit. It's just so fucking easy. People who blocked him or weren't even following him were getting not notifications, but getting notifications about his posts. Sent straight to their phone. Like, bro, how desperate can he what more does he want? What more does he want? Like, how do you satisfy the attention and praise-seeking behaviors that someone like Elon Musk wants? You are the richest man in the world. You're about to be the first guy to ever be a trillionaire. You own the main fucking rocket source for the United States, right? You're deeply involved in our national security, so you're important on that level. You've brought entire industry to life, right? When it comes to electronic vehicles, right? You built this whole fucking empire based on it, and everyone's following suit. You're pushing for reform for it and all this other kind of shit, right? And now you got your hand in politics, right? You're like the right-hand man of the president of the United States. Like, what more do you want? And why the fuck are you concerned about the opinions? After all this, after all these achievements, why are you so concerned about the opinions of random fucking 20-year-olds online who fucking shit post all day and have nothing better to do with their lives other than to fucking goon on the internet? I don't know what else they do. But he needs to impress these people by doing dumb shit like buying out pro gamer accounts and acting like it's his fucking accounts, acting like he's the best in all these fucking video games that he barely plays. Like, why are these concerns, man? What is going on? Actually, I think I saw someone say, I don't know where I saw this. Somebody said that Elon Musk is like, what happens when a 12-year-old kid who died of the plague a long time ago, the soul of that kid and the soul of a rich fucking 1800s oil tycoon. Like, this is what happens when both those souls try to enter the same fucking body and take over, right? Like, which one is he? Is he a child? Or is he a fucking rich, crazy, like, capitalist, insane motherfucker. Like, I don't understand.
Him because of the union issues. He was very virulently anti-union. So they didn't invite him, and he was very upset, like personally upset, like wounded almost. And I even went as far as to call Steve Ricchetti, who works for Biden, and I said, "Boy, have you made a mistake? That you should bear hug this guy. I wouldn't be. He's really mad." And Steve Ricchetti's a nice guy. And he's like, "Oh, it's the unions. He should understand. He's a big boy." And I was like, "No, he's not a big boy."
The Biden people are all very relational. For them to have missed what a relational snub like this could do to somebody with his ego it's a mistake at the kind of politics that they were supposed to be so good at.
Well, the thing is, and Steve's, again, a lovely guy. I actually ran into him at a movie premiere for Wicked, and he goes, "Guess you were right." I'm like, "Yes, so." The way he takes slights is really strange. I'd seen it in action, sort of petty anger and slights, and that one really stuck hard. And the Biden people kept tweaking him, and I found that to be he could be like, "So what?" I'm like, "Why would you do that? He actually does deserve the accolades around Tesla, right? So why not just give him that?" And I never understood why they wouldn't, despite the union stuff.
There's a factor you haven't mentioned here, which is Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So the Wall Street Journal has a piece from years ago where it's just tracking his number of tweets year by year.
Crazy.
2012, 2013, 2014. You begin to see it really explode. 2016, 2017, he gets really big. 2018, and then he's really off to the races.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on in his use of Twitter, and obviously he eventually buys
He's
Twitter, and we'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly,
you can see it in his
he becomes
day-to-day life.
very
He's
influenced
posts nonstop
by some quite radically right subcultures on Twitter. The part of Twitter he ends up falling into, whether he looks for it or just gets into it, I don't know what the chicken and the egg is here. But he doesn't become a normal Republican. He doesn't become in some ways a normal MAGA Republican. He's not like Steve Bannon or something.
No.
He falls into a sort of world of Twitter anons. And
it started off with joking stuff. Like he liked all those memes, dank memes. He loves saying
It wasn't joking, though. That's the
he's
problem. Oh my god! If you look at some of those memes, though, and I'll give these people the benefit of the doubt. They know what they're talking about. But if you look at some of those memes, they come from 4chan, right? They come from these really dog whistly Nazi white supremacist weird shit, right? And it's kind of hard to ignore that this is what he kind of believes. He's this immigrant from South Africa. I'm assuming at some point, I know there's apartheid shit or whatever. Hold on. Who are Elon's parents? Let me see something. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, that's what I expected. So they came from apartheid Africa. Both parents are white, right? So apartheid Africa, 2 white people, not affected at all by the apartheid. As a matter of fact, they get to experience all the benefits of that. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of his beginnings in terms of believing in this white supremacist Nazi rhetoric shit, whatever the fuck, comes from his experiences or his parents' experiences from then, right? Kind of seems like it kind of bleeds into this. And from my personal experience, I know the experience of a lot of other people who were on the internet around the early 2000s, looking at these quote-unquote dank memes. A lot of them, again, 4chan, dog whistles, hidden symbology towards white supremacist Nazi bullshit.
You know him so much better than I do. I don't know him very well at all, but I always felt when I had left his presence,
feels like he's always been into
it.
It
Years ago, before he was, who he is now, I would tell people he was the smartest 15-year-old boy in the world.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. Yeah.
And so he got really into the memes, and this was always a real door into a dark right wing on that particular.
It always
platform.
is. I have experiences with my own son. He loves dank memes. He always sends me dank memes or whatever. And you can fall down it. And I think that's what attracted him to Twitter for sure. And then it took off into a much more darker place that the other things impacted it. But, he's an addictive personality, clearly, whether it's to work or hardcore is one of his favorite words, which is I find to be hustle porn. So he's attracted to addiction. And so his Twitter use is, you can watch it, you can see it. It's manic, and he's a manic person. And I think it's, again, not an excuse, but an explanation. He has a manic personality.
So there's also reality that in a way that is unusual among people's class, he's really good at it, good at social media in the way young people are, not in the way, Barack Obama is, right? You get.
I don't think he's good the way, my kids are cringe. They're always cringe. No,
fair enough, but there's an official voice of social media. The voice Mark Zuckerberg used to have before he became an Elon Musk imitator online. The voice that, you would get from Obama or Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And Musk isn't in that voice. He's constantly responding to small follower accounts. And he really does build up an attentional power that he didn't have before it. He begins to really trade in this coin of attention.
He loves attention.
He loves attention, but he's, he uses it to drive meme coins out. He begins, I think, to understand in a way other people don't because he's experimenting with it, what you can turn attention into.
Right.
What set him apart from sort of the other people who superficially looked like him that made him temperamentally suited to doing that?
Well, his manic nature, right? It's got a manic addictive quality to it. And he does have a sense of humor. It's not my sense of humor, and people will hate me for saying this, but it can be rather charming, right? Like when he was on Saturday Night Live.
Look, I know I sometimes say or post strange things, but that's just how my brain works.
Hold on. His sense of humor is fucking shitty. That's not even funny. What's not funny about it? Awkward? Charming? I don't know. I don't think it's that. It's not even funny.
For anyone I've offended, I just want to say I reinvented electric cars and I'm sending people to Mars on a rocket ship. Did you think I was also going to be a chill, normal dude?
He was so awkward that it was charming, and other people.
Hold on, wait. You think that he made that joke up? You think he created
I reinvented electric cars.
You can even see he's fucking reading something right now. He's looking right at it. He's like, all I gotta say is whatever's on the screen, and I have to make it sound like it's a joke, right? That's all I gotta do. That's all I gotta do. That's all it is. This guy's a fucking commie. He's a fucking commie. Piece of shit commie
Sending people to
Nazi.
Mars on a rocket ship. Did you think I was also going to be a chill, normal dude?
He's so awkward that it was charming, and other people are going to say Kara loves him, but I don't care. Go watch it. It is. I don't just the way.
Do you really have all these people in your life who are?
Oh my God! You brought them. You made them. Oh yes. Oh my God! They're so exhausting. I have to tell you, sometimes the left is so ridiculously censorious. It's kind of like I don't want to use censorious. That's not. They're just like scoldish. I don't want to use. They're not censoring in any way.
Talking about Elon.
But yes, I get a lot of like you made him. Like you didn't know it. Well, I didn't know how he was treating his kid. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. And had I known, I would have.
He also didn't make him. The car company was successful because the cars were
I was covering him as a car manufacturer. Look, that Silicon Valley is I'm not going to make an excuse. Silicon Valley has a million people like him. He was very typical, except he was doing more interesting things than other people. So getting back to how he's good at it, I think the people that are very good, and I once wrote a column about in the Times when I was writing for the Times about the two people I thought were very good, which is AOC and Trump, right? They're genuine to themselves, right? Or Kim Kardashian's another person who's like this. You don't have to like any of these people, but boy, are they good at channeling themselves as an image online. And it feels genuine. It feels like them doing it, and it is them doing it.
You think that Kim Kardashian feels genuine? I mean, yeah, she probably channels herself, but herself is all fake. She's a fucking Barbie doll. Everything about her is not real.
It feels like it's their voice, if that makes sense. People love when
it's
someone
the character's voice, yeah, I'll give you
and
that.
It creates a sensation around them, right? And so then you get a lot of acolytes. Oh my God, Elon Musk responded to me, and he feeds off of that too. And again, he combines the humor. He initially combined humor with that, or insights, right, to interesting things, and then it very quickly twisted into stuff he doesn't know anything about, and he just pontificates. And that's his favorite thing, is to say all manner of nonsense and inaccuracies about things he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I remember being at Code years ago, and you all had Musk on the stage, and he sort of talked through that he believed in the simulation hypothesis,
yes.
which
I mean,
is
like,
a hypothesis.
I feel like if you're somebody with all those accolades and whatever, you're jumping in our small-time streamers or like fucking nobody accounts and shit, having direct arguments with them, caring about what they fucking think about you. That's sad. That's pathetic.
You should
that
expect
really
that
is
a sufficient
pathetic.
Civilization will begin running simulations of the world. There will be more simulations than there will be base realities. And so by a simple matter of arithmetic, we are likelier to be living in a simulated world than the real world. And Musk said, he bought this and thought there was a pretty low chance.
He said there's a non-zero chance, and it fascinated him again.
Well, that's what I was going to get at. Not the simulation. I think people can make too much of whether or not that idea matters. But he has a mind, has always, I think, had a mind that is attracted to unusual ideas. That the things that most people believe are probably wrong, what you can and can't do, what isn't true. And I mean, he has been proven right a number of times, in very, very big, profound ways. Now he's the richest man in the world. I mean, he has the most attention in the world, right? From where you start to end up there, that's going to change your psychology.
How is he right, though, in those things?
One thing that then seems true, though, is that he doesn't just get attracted to
being
unusual
the richest man in the world doesn't make him right in any of those things.
People believe are probably wrong, what you can and can't do, what isn't true.
I be having issues sometimes with what he says and what he brings on with some people. Like, I agree with them for the most part, but some of these other things that they be slipping in there, I'm just so fucking confused about.
Has been proven right a number of times, in very, very big, profound ways. Now he's the richest man in the world. I mean, he has most a number probably wrong, what you can and can't do, what isn't true. And I mean, he's been proven right a number of times.
What is that?
In very, very big.
That's a big claim to be making, and then just saying that he's done that because he's now the richest man in the world. I don't know.
profound ways.
Maybe I'm just picking apart something that's like kind of unimportant and small, but this doesn't make sense.
Richest man in the world. I mean, he's
I don't understand
the world,
this.
right? From where you start to end up there, that's going to change your psychology.
Right.
One thing that then seems true, though, is that he doesn't just get attracted to unusual ideas, but he gets more conspiratorial as I watch him on Twitter.
Yes.
And I'm curious how you understand that dimension of him.
Well, Kevin Roose did a great thing about that. You go down this rabbit hole. It really is. It can really be, well, did you know this? Or, everybody is subject to it with the way social media works. That's a mind of technology people. They're like, this could happen. We could go to the moon, right? You have to have that element to you if you're going to do very difficult things. And so you have to start with that personality. And therefore, every single thing is open to question. Why do we do it this way? Why do we do it this way? And it's a personality trait I like. But what happens is when you start to get out to Ukraine or, vaccines or whatever, they have to question everything and posit themselves. I always joke about it with my wife. Oh, yet another bold truth teller, right? Like, I'm so tired of them. Like, I'm here to boldly tell you the truth without any actual information.
That trope is so fucking overdone now. The guy who knows the secrets, knows the forbidden knowledge, the fucking woke. All right, so they're the ones who act woke, but then will claim that the enemy are woke mind virus people, despite the fact that they're actually pretending to be what the definition of woke is, right? Someone who knows some truth and that they speak the truth and they're not afraid of the truth.
Information or reporting. And so he's attracted to that.
They just
that
made
idea,
a new
like the
term
simulation,
for it.
like why can't we live on Mars? Not everybody does that. And I think when it starts from that, it starts off from a good place. But often in the social media world, as Kevin correctly put out in that
A lot of people do that though. Just no one who's rich does that. Who has a capability of being able to pull that off does that.
It goes down into the sort of conspiracy theory.
We've been talking about going to Mars for fucking years now.
It's a very specific kind of conspiracy theory he gets into. So you have him, he responds to somebody who tweets that Jews, quote, have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. And Musk replies, you have said the actual truth. In July 2024, just before he came out in support of Trump, he accused Democrats of, quote, trying to import as many illegal voters as possible. And in this way, I think what is going on with him is a little bit distinct from a lot of the people who superficially have similar politics, because I think he's really bought into a lot of great replacement theory.
Yes.
A lot of this idea.
So have a lot of people in Silicon Valley. Let me say, he's not alone.
No, he's not.
He's got a cut like this Curtis Yarvin stuff. They've all sort of been taken by these. It's almost religious if you think about it, right? And so one of the things that I think it goes back to, and I hate to say this, is sad little
Almost
boy
religious is
wasn't
cult.
loved
It's a
enough
cult,
as a
that's what it
child. Is searching for meaning, right? Is searching for love, searching for, and again, not an excuse, because I think he's become a terrible person and he should get therapy. But when there's easy answers like that, oh, this is why you're so unhappy. Oh, this is why the world is the way it is. These right-wing conspiracies do scratch an itch for these people.
I bet you he was actually like fucking spoiled. I bet you he was so spoiled and got whatever the fuck he wanted. Like, I don't think, I don't know. I really don't believe this. Hold on. Do we have... Let's see what his Wikipedia says about his childhood. Do we have information about how his childhood was? Let's see, early life. His parents divorced in 1980. He was divorced when he was 9. He lived with his father, but regretted it. Elon, oh. Damn, his parents didn't like him. So maybe he
religion. It's their answer to the world.
That love and affection he needed as a kid.
Politics. So Musk is South African. Peter Thiel spent much of his childhood in South Africa. David Sachs is South African. And there's a very distinctive experience.
There is.
To being somebody, born in or who lived in South Africa, during apartheid.
Oh, no. You need to add more to that, though. It's a little more specific. There's a very unique experience being someone who was born and lived in South African apartheid to a millionaire family who owns a fucking emerald mine out there and who is using labor forces and underpaying them and possibly even abusing their employees in that said region. Which would probably most likely be, because it's during South Apartheid, most likely be black people, actual Africans, right, who were being abused.
And saw apartheid dismantled, saw South Africa change. I've never quite known myself how much weight.
Elon Musk's childhood is so fucking specific and unique that it's almost too easy to psychoanalyze like who he is and why he's come to the position in which he's at right now. And I feel like these guys are almost on the mark completely. They're almost on the mark. They're just missing it just by a little bit. And I think the reason why they're missing it is because they're falling into the same trap that Democrats seem to keep making, which is trying to like play nice, right? They're trying to give the benefit of the doubt. They're trying to exert an olive branch or whatever the fuck is this saying. Like, call him out in full stop. No holds barred, right? Like, say that he didn't just grow up in South Africa during apartheid. Say that he also was born into an incredibly wealthy family, and that family had a business that's probably abusing the locals. Like, why didn't they just say that shit? But they just, oh my God, man. If we had better criticism to their face, to MAGA, I feel like, especially when it comes to stuff like this, we would be able to get a lot more push, a lot more like passion from the people to want to step up and do something and realize how bad things have gotten at this point.
To put on this interpretation, but it seems relevant. It seems interesting.
Relevant.
I feel like she is, because I know she's been following him for a very long time. I feel like she's been way too credible and nice about her evaluation of Elon Musk, right? Like, it's just a little bit too forgiving, considering like what he's been doing and all that stuff. Like the dank meme stuff. Come on, man. Like, I know that those dank memes she's talking about has to be like racial memes from 4chan, right? Because he even mentioned some of them to this day. Like, some of these memes that were like birthed out of 4chan were being used on like far right wing like circles that were still in the closet and weren't as vocal as they are nowadays, right? And they had their own dog whistles and shit, dog whistles images and stuff like that. Those are the types of things he was probably into, because again, grew up in, like you said, South Africa apartheid, right? Both his parents were white. Both his parents had everything to gain from the apartheid happening, right? And had a lot to lose, I'm assuming, from it ending and shit. So, you know, it wouldn't be surprised to me if his parents, his dad, since he lived with them for such a long time, engraved some of these racist ideologies into his
who are,
brain,
three of the most significant figures in the Silicon Valley,
as well as also ingraining the ideologies that he has towards treating his employees as corporation, right? I'm sure Elon saw how his father treated some of the people and workers that he had at that emerald mine and assumed that it would make a lot of sense for him to treat his employees here the same fucking way, which is why he's so casually and with such disregard oftentimes as he's sweeping moves where like he'll fire a bunch of fucking people. Like when he took over, he's fired like a whole bunch of fucking people right off the rip and completely restructured how they even treat their employees.
Have this, very, very distinctive political experience of watching South Africa's white minority move from being in control of the country to a frightened minority in the country.
There is that element to a lot of these people. And the same thing with Silicon Valley people. Again, when you merge that with the ideas around Silicon Valley,
why don't they open that up? Why didn't they take that and open that up? Explore that. Why are you turning this around in Silicon Valley?
Highly male, we have all the answers. Why are these silly people in our way? And
so
with the South African thing, I don't know. Like, I don't know what happened there that created this group of people, but you could say that about people who come from Russia or China, or, there's an element of a whole bunch of people who immigrated from India. They bring with them the whatever culture happened there. And with South Africa, you can go one of two ways, right? You can go the Athol Fugard way, or you could go in this more this way
I don't think it's that hard to figure out which way he went. It's not that hard to figure out which way he went. Look at what he's doing. He's doing Nazi salutes and shit. Like, he's out here supporting far right-wing groups. Like, come on. His parents, maybe he didn't get the love that he was supposed to get growing up as a kid. I'll grant him that. But Jesus Christ, his dad most definitely ingrained into his idea a lot of his anti-multiculturalism ideologies.
Yes, in some fashion.
So Musk goes and buys Twitter. It's a sort of unusual acquisition. He tries to get out of it while it's happening, but he does buy it. And he comes in and he immediately does this huge cutting, just like slashing right through it. And people talk about this as headcount reduction. They talk about it as cutting waste. They talk about it as cutting bone. But what I think when you look back on it now, what it both was in reality and also, and you would know more about this than me, but what it becomes culturally in Silicon Valley is the reassertion of control.
That's right.
Of a CEO over an annoying and overly empowered
absolutely
liberal
they loved
employee
it. The
base.
CEOs loved it.
Yeah, talk a little bit about not exactly just what he did, but what the cultural effect of what he did was on his cohort.
Well, I think what was really interesting is a lot of these guys,
just keep ripping on us again. That's why I'm saying again. I think that comes from the way that his dad went about conducting business and treating his employees at the emerald mining company.
Have tiny dick energy.
It's the same shit.
They want to be big swinging dicks, and they won't do it, right? They won't go there because they're worried about what people will say, or everyone's sort of watching each other. And this guy goes in and just does it. Silicon Valley, the employees run the show. Like, they really do. They like to get their lunches. They like to get their cars, their dry cleaning. They like to speak up. And by the way,
well, I mean, of course they run the show. They're the fucking workers, the backbone. Nothing would happen.
They
if it
started
wasn't
it,
with
like
them.
Google starting with having the employees talk back every Friday. What do you think was going to happen, right? The kids get
Facebook having a Friday meeting where Mark Zuckerberg answers employee questions.
I hear you.
And they all create the internal chat software.
Right. Everybody
like
has
Slack
a
and
point of
Teams,
view.
where it allows employees to be speaking in a way that they can sort of organize that speech even without unions.
Right. They gave power to their employees. And I had a discussion, I don't think it was Mark, where I was like, now they're talking back. I'm like, what did you think they were going to do?
Yeah,
You
Elon
indulge
is not
children
gonna
for
do
long enough and give them
that
sugar
shit.
all day long. They're going to become terrible people, like, you know what I mean? And so that they were surprised by this is what happened when they created these cultures, I'm always surprised by. So they have all these employees that annoy them. So they let them say whatever they wanted, and then they said whatever they wanted, and then they were annoyed by them saying whatever they wanted. And they found it, very hard to push back because, the talent is at a premium in Silicon Valley. So you have to kind of let everybody be themselves, right? And it got annoying for a lot of these people because they had effective control over things. But with Musk, when he did it, you could see everybody in Silicon Valley. They wanted to be him. Oh, he gets to do that. I don't get to do that. I have to listen to my diversity, equity, inclusion people. Like, I hate those people. Like,
By the way,
but he doesn't have to. He can do whatever he wants.
By the way, speaking of diversity, equity, and inclusion, the plan of attack in which Trump's administration is going about getting rid of that shit is working. Like, he stated not too long ago that they're going to be using law enforcement and legal suits or whatever the fuck to make sure that corporations don't do that shit no more. And all these corporations are following suit, even ones that you wouldn't think that would actually do that. Like, I just read not too long ago that PBS, the public broadcasting system, which was a government like channel and stuff, of course they're getting rid of DEI, but that's the same channel that brought to you Sesame Street, right? Something you wouldn't really expect, from a channel like that. But a lot of companies, corporations are just getting rid of the DEI groups and organizations or whatever in response to this because they're afraid. They don't want to get investigated. They don't want to get in trouble. And you know what? I will say this. Some of those programs are kind of sucked ass anyway. So, but that's not what this is all about. It's not because they were effective or not. It's because they don't want any anti-white people shit. They don't want any minority stuff anymore. They want to take back over and assert their quote-unquote supremacy over this country.
And when he did that and cut people, they wanted to do that too.
This feels to me like part of the COVID era radicalization that happened to the Silicon Valley CEO class. That something happening during COVID, during the rise of various reckonings, Me Too, of Black Lives Matter. I really think it has a lot to do with the rise of Slack and Teams and things like that. I think it's a very underrated dimension of what changed the relationship
is irritating
between the bosses and their employees. It feels to me like a lot of the CEOs just hated their employees. What radicalized them was that they had lost control of their companies.
Right.
And they wanted that control back.
They did.
And that, as much as anything, feels to me like the theory Musk is importing now to the government. It's not, he's talked about cutting spending, cutting waste. What he's trying to get for Trump or for him is control.
Right. It's sort of the rid me of this annoying priest kind of thing. Like, rid me of these people. Again, it's like a king thing. The way they set up their companies is a kingship, right? Mark Zuckerberg has complete control. He can't be fired. He's there for life, dictator for life, or whatever, the joke you want to make. And so they like that. But it's not, in practice, it doesn't work that way because he's got reporters annoying him, like irritating reporters. He's got, he's got his staff. He's got to like at least give a nod to diversity or else he gets shamed. And he doesn't have the fortitude that must have in that regard. And so they themselves are trying to assert themselves in sort of what they.
I've probably heard this before. The Sword of Damocles is a little, story, right? Meant to teach and tell people about the idea of the threat that looms for people who are in positions of great power, right? Where a king is asked by a servant or some shit like that, they wish to be king one day, and if they could, see how it is or whatever. And he's like, all right, sure, but you gotta, sit on this throne, and there has to be a sword hanging above your head, and it's gotta be held by a fucking thin-ass rope, and all this kind of stuff. And he's sitting there with a crown on his head. He's all fucking scared because he's looking at the sword. He doesn't know if it's gonna break and fall on his head and kill him and shit. And the king's like, oh yeah, I did this because I want to show you that, being king isn't all fucking, fucking sunshine and daisies and rainbows and shit. It's not easy. That there's always gonna be this threat of danger and death that's looming right around the corner, or just not even just danger and death, but just problems, things that could, hinder your power or take away this position, and at any moment it could hit you in the face, right? So that's a more extreme version of this stuff, but since these people like to act like kings, it kind of makes a little bit sense. These people still have to abide by the pressures of society and the pressures of the people that are below them, like their employees and all that kind of stuff. And if they continue to fuck it up and go down a certain path that ain't so good for them, that sword's gonna fucking fall right for their head.
Consider a man, right? This is the definition of what a man is. A lot of them were not considered manly when they were in high school, or, sort of Revenge of the Nerds kind of thing. So they are trying to hold on to all these kind of manly cosplaying, I guess. With Mark, it's the stupid chain and the t-shirt, which good luck, it's fine. I think it looks ridiculous, but fine. He likes it. Or the MMA, like I can feel like a man. Like they hold on, or I'm going to hydrofoil, or I'm going to work out, or I'm going to show off my muscles. That's what Bezos is doing. Like, here's my muscles, here's my pretty fiance kind of thing. They're trying to sort of cosplay a version of a man that I think it seems pathetic to me, but I think it gives them great comfort.
One of the Rosetta Stones to me of the
it's absolutely pathetic
intellectual shift happening among this class was, I forgot now exactly when this was, but when Musk and Zuckerberg were talking about having a fight in a cage.
Right.
And this is all, this has its own funny sub-themes where Zuckerberg is taking it all incredibly earnestly, and Musk is clearly mocking him the whole time.
Totally.
And so there's like a whole dynamic where they don't have the cage match, which Zuckerberg would win, but actually Musk wins because what he was doing was making fun of Mark Zuckerberg. But
they didn't.
A little bit. Yeah, we think about it that way. Can't be. A little bit. Just a little.
Like each other. Just to be clear, they didn't like each other.
But then there's a third here. So there's an Allen and Company conference, big CEO tech conferences, and Andreessen is asked about it, and he ends up sending out his answer on his Substack, and he basically says, "I think it's great if they fight, because we've lost all the masculine virtues of the Greeks, and if it was good enough for the Greeks, it's good enough for us." And one of the things happening, it seems to me, in the right-wing intellectual subculture these guys are recently part of,
why
also
do you
among
think
them,
they go for the Greeks?
Is a sense that the world has feminine intellectual. It's good enough for the Greeks, it's good fight, because we've lost all the masculine virtues of the Greeks, and if it was good,
they go for the Greeks. They could have went for any other culture. They went for any other culture. They went for the Greeks because either they were both gay or because they were within their white supremacist view and shit. They could have literally just went for any badass culture. I think they thought that was with supreme white people.
Good enough for the Greeks, it's good enough for us.
Or some shit.
One of the things happening, it seems to me, in the right-wing intellectual subculture.
I can't look. I can't see this stuff, this whatever culture shit, whatever the fuck this manifestation, this Andrew Tateism nonsense. I can't look at this stuff without seeing the obvious white supremacy, master race stuff as well. Right? Because all of it fits the bill, right? All of it fits the bill. It's certain groups of people that they look up to and see as being their apex predator fucking version of whatever it is that makes them feel good on the inside, right? And with Elon Musk particularly, it always seems to be, or at least some of these other ones, so like adoration for certain races that they believe was the apex of that. It doesn't even, Greeks didn't even consider themselves white. It doesn't even matter if that's the case, right? That's the thing. They can historically have been dark-skinned, but as long as the myth or the idea or the stereotype surrounds something of a light-skinned nature, and as well maybe throw in some blonde hair in there every once in a while, they'll definitely eat that shit up. Whenever someone mentions the Spartans, I mentioned they were defeated by an army of gay men. Yes. They definitely were fiddling each other.
Culture, these guys are from a lot of the, also among them,
a lot of the reports
is a sense that the world has feminized.
And I want to say this, I got no problem being gay. It's also, this is just facts. This is historical, right? A lot of the Greeks was much more accepted at the time. They were into it. It's more popular, I guess, or there's more kink going on. I don't know what you want to say it. I got no problem.
And that the masculine virtues of aggression, of combat, of conflict, of daring, of risk, of just making decisions and the hell with it has been diminished, and that the thing that is needed is some kind of correction, that modernity is going off the rails because we're becoming womanly and soft.
The Thebans defeated the Spartans and were super. No, I know. I've trust me, I know what you're talking about. I've read a lot about mythology and history. It's something that I like obsess about. It's like one of my little curiosities and shit about that. But I know that they were very much into it, and they were also into a lot of other questionable sexual things that I definitely don't approve of, though.
You know, show us our way back.
Well, they don't like women to start with.
And what I mean by that is some of these people were into kids, very young kids.
It'd be a surprise that don't like the ladies, like kind of thing.
Well, they intellectualized it is what I think becomes interesting here.
What's interesting about what you're saying, and it's absolutely true. They don't have women in their midst. I wrote a piece once saying the men and no women of Facebook, and Mark got hurt by it. And I was like, what? I'm just putting up pictures of your management. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you hired them. They're very fixated on what a man is and how to behave. And what's really interesting, especially Mark Andreessen, I mean, if he could jog like 10 feet, I'd be surprised,
just because
like,
they have
the manly virtues.
Ego problems. They have no confidence in themselves. They have no self-confidence. They don't have any real role models, I guess, that they like that match them or whatever. They've always felt beaten down and weak and all this kind of other embarrassing shit. That's why they act like this. The Romans and Spartans fucked kids. Yes, they did. They did. It's disgusting. They did.
Just give me a break. I mean, when he said that, I'm like, I could beat him up in 5 seconds. Like, I don't even understand where this comes from. But they, now he's going to try to challenge me to a fight, whatever. It's a concept of what a man is that is not what a man is, but they've decided it is. Now, of all these people, Elon didn't cosplay a lot like that. Like, he didn't.
That's why, another thing too is I feel like the transgender shit is such a threat to them because it's a threat to their mentality about themselves. Right? They see transgender men, right, who are now females, and it puts into question to them who they are, because they've obsessed about being a man for such a long fucking time, right? So the idea that it might be even remotely possible for a man to not be the stereotype in which they obsessed over for their entire fucking lives sounds so scary to them that they're willing to have a whole crusade against 0.001% of the population and fucking basically ban them from everything, right? Transgender people existed before. They've existed for such a fucking long time.
Now he's trying to wear.
For such a long time, and they only know about this now because they got the internet. They never. That's the thing. That's actually further proof to my claims, right? That's why I know when I talk to somebody, argue with them about, and they're telling me that they had these anecdotal experiences apparently with transgender people, that they have their own personal experience with transgender people and they were bad. I know that they're talking a whole lot of bullshit because they're the same people who would be coming out and saying that This transgender stuff is all brand new. Nobody was transgender up until some certain point, and now everyone's fucking transgender. I never heard of it. It never fucking existed until like Obama or Biden was off. They say all this dumb shit, right? But somehow they've had personal experiences with transgender people. They apparently have like a transgender friend, or like they've had all this. Bro, it's like, which one is it? It's like, which one fucking is it, dude? Have you never met a transgender person before and never knew that that was a thing? Or do you like definitely know that they exist and you have personal experiences with them all the time? Like before the internet, I don't think a lot of these people knew that that was a thing, because they're so far and few between. You literally could go your entire life and never meet one of them. Like that's how rare they are. Like I don't think that they actually have ever had any personal experience at all with transgender people, and any effects, acts that pass, like, will never affect them. It just never will affect them or their kids. I never met a trans person that was bad, etc. They are themselves normies. Yeah, exactly. They're normal. They're normal. They're fucking normal. I have a bunch of patients come to my job that are transgender, all fucking normal people. They don't come in and start telling me, oh, did you suck a cock today? Because if you didn't suck a cock, you're a piece of shit. And they don't slap me across the face and give me a fucking pamphlet to go get a fucking surgery and tell me about how I have to teach my kids about how to do this shit too. They're not doing that kind of shit. They come in, they chill, they act like a normal fucking person. They don't even talk about anything other than just what they're there for. To smoke fucking weed, and that's it, and they leave. Like, I don't understand why they believe that their existence just alone somewhere else in the nation, like not even in their own personal life, is a threat to not just them but their fucking kids and their entire family. It's crazy. Nuts. Literally nuts. I met a transgender emperor once. I never met a person. Yeah. The Nazis also burned and destroyed transgender studies that set the cause back years. Yes, they did. They actually got rid of a lot of stuff like that. And there was a lot of good science coming out around that time. I mean, Albert Einstein, was all the rage. I know I hate into anything with that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, just in general, in science in general, there's a lot of like research and advancements being made during the time. And there's a lot of really bright, intelligent minds in science in all fields, especially in Germany right before its collapse into whatever the fuck, into Nazism.
That's and that whole nonsense that he's doing. But he actually didn't as much as they did, and now they sort of take all their cues from his aggression, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was the thing I was going to sort of get at with Zuckerberg too. When I think back on that fight they were going to have, and Zuckerberg for a minute seemed to be positing himself as the Elon foil, right? He would challenge him to a fight. He was having Threads. Elon had X, and now you see Zuckerberg copying him. I mean, the way he engages on Threads is the way Elon engages on Twitter.
Yeah, Zuckerberg is such a beta. He's such a beta. I love saying that.
He is, though. Was Zuck the cuck? 100%. He was in the position at some point where he was like he kind of had Elon looking like a bitch because Elon backed out of that fight. But then he still comes around and turns around and still somehow makes himself seem like a cuck. Crazy. Zuck the cuck. I met tons of straight cis people that are way worse than any trans person I've ever met. Every fucking shitty person I've ever met was a straight cis person.
There is this deep way in which Musk seems to have reset the culture, or at least been the signal that allowed a lot of the people who weren't quite ready to come out and say how they've been feeling themselves to move. He led a lot of the flood towards Trump of tech leaders. And, now is like showing, you can actually turn this into political power in a way that I think nobody quite realized you could do directly. I mean, Peter Thiel, I think, for better or worse, gets a lot of credit for he supported Trump early. He made his bets, but Thiel didn't try to wield the power himself. Thiel makes bets and watches them pay off or not. Yeah. But Musk is going in and showing, it could just be you. You could not only have all this power as a technology CEO, you could be one of the most important celebrities in the world, and you could be functionally shadow president. Like, you didn't figure this out? I figured it out.
Yeah, Zuckerberg hid from the attention, right? Zuckerberg never liked he liked the acclaim, but he never liked the shit that went with it, right? And so
Zuckerberg never figured that out because I feel like the only reason why Musk figured this out was by accident. He was just following his addictions. Another random autistic fucking attention stuff, right? That's all he really did. I don't think he realized that he could get this like trifecta of companies that will succeed in such a credible way and give him such a great like deal of power in all these different fields. Like, what was it? Zuck didn't have that type of goal in mind anyway. He clearly had a focus solely on Facebook in technological advancements, maybe in AI and stuff like that. He didn't have all these like random like carrot expeditions to make like a boring company to bore tunnels underneath fucking roads for traffic, or to create a rocket ship company. Like, it's always just been Facebook. So
that's why he didn't push all the way through, right?
I don't even understand.
And that was interesting. And Musk does have these guts to do that. Like, I'm going to do it no matter what. But if I get attacked, in fact, I eat my attackers for breakfast, right? I love my attack.
It's not like Zuckerberg could just get up and start doing this shit, though. He's got to make a lot of moves in order to make that happen.
Quite similar. It takes a very unusual personality.
Because he's a rich business billionaire, social media guy. It doesn't make any sense.
Absorb. You know, there's a decision they both made that, you know, if you want to really wield power, you have to be willing to be hated. And one of the things most of us are not willing to do is to be truly hated, and most CEOs are not willing to be truly hated. It seems like bad business, if nothing else.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Whoa, what? Hold on. What? Elon only has this power because he's part of like national security shit. But again, this has to deal with the things that he's invested in and the businesses he's built. Zuckerberg doesn't have any of that. He doesn't have any of that. It's not about whether or not he's hated. Like, even if Zuckerberg already turned around and started like pissing people off and stopped caring so much about what other people thought about him, it's not like he could just seize control of the government and become a shadow president. Alone from that. Like, Elon had to do a lot of other stuff to get himself into that position. It wasn't just one thing or another. It wasn't just owning a social media thing or company. Like, the fuck? Vegas could have had a metro, but instead gave the funding to Elon to build a tunnel that allows 4 passenger. Did they even finish that fucking tunnel, dude? Because I heard they didn't even do anything. I heard that they started building a tunnel and it was just, that was it. They didn't actually build anything in it. I haven't looked into it in a while though. But I'll be surprised if there is a fucking functioning tunnel, because if there is and that's all they got from it, holy fuck, what a waste. What a fucking waste. Basically, it's just a tunnel that's... Oh my god, what a fucking waste. That's what I'm saying, like... Zuckerberg isn't doing anything like that. His other expeditions or whatever, expenditures, business projects, have to deal with AI... and virtual reality. Like, it's all technological, you know? It's nothing to do with anything else. He's not getting his hands into national security. He's not getting his hands into fucking, like, providing internet services, right? He's not getting his hands into automobiles or anything like that. Like, I don't understand what the fuck this kind of like comparison
they do care though. Underneath,
the same shit with the Hyperloop.
Wants nothing more than have the New York Times love him. Like, you can feel it, right? Like, you know that the sense of victimhood.
People say this. I don't buy it anymore. Maybe you did once. I don't buy it anymore.
I do. I think they both care quite a bit of what people think. I think they care almost too much what people think. And so I think it fuels their rage in a lot of ways. I think they will never not, there is a little piece of them that is never not going to care about what people think of them. And they become more and more emboldened by that. It fuels, it's the center of their rocket fuel, I think.
I mean, there might be certainly truth to it as rocket fuel for them. I just think that at a certain point, you lose a belief.
You do get emboldened if you stopped caring. It makes sense, of course.
People or even friends you still want to have, and that's I think what real radicalization.
Especially when you're not like facing any consequences to some of your actions too, right? Which kind of brings up something I wanted to mention earlier. You know, so things like the January 6th stuff, right? You got these rioters, they do all this crazy shit. They get pardoned. They don't face any consequences for their actions. Of course, they're going to feel emboldened to act more crazy. Like the next time a January 6th happens, the next time some other similar event happens, right? When the political violence breaks out, they're not gonna feel as held back. They're gonna cross even more fucking lines. They'll get even more violence and absurd and insane because they know now that they could just do this shit. They could just fucking do this shit. Also, Zuck has made a company that has utility Musk companies that he made can go away and nothing would really happen. Exactly. Exactly.
is.
Absolutely.
Radicalization, I think, often takes just the normal pluralistic give and
It's
take,
like,
we're all in this together
I
off
don't
the
think
table.
the
It becomes an
comparisons
all-out
are
war.
so-
And I do think Trump and
I don't even understand what kind of like what they're trying to get or gain from this conversation, making these comparisons to both of them. I understand they're trying to examine Elon Musk and his, supposed radicalization and shit like this, but
different way, but in some ways a
throwing
more,
this comparison
I think, intellectualized way.
makes
Musk
no
now
sense to
see
me.
this as all-out war, and you have to gain control. If you don't, I mean, he was on Rogan's show saying, that there'd be no more elections if Trump didn't win this time. I mean, Musk has really gone into the civilizational battle, right?
Elon is not even close to Zuckerberg's intelligence and
He's now
business
trying to get-
mind. Yeah, they're two fucking separate people. That's why I assert this claim. I really do feel like Elon is in this position because he got lucky. I feel like he just was following a whole different type of intuition and mind path, and he just ended up falling into where he is now just because of that. Like, he had the other obsessions and other goals. These things, this position of power, ended up becoming like a bonus, right? It ended up becoming like, oh shit, I didn't realize I could also do this now too because of all the other things I was caring about. Like, I just don't. I don't know.
far-right AfD elected in,
Like him buying Twitter. That's him buying his addiction.
in Germany.
That's all I was.
Get Labor out of power in the
I don't think he knew he was buying the most powerful tool for social media, or the most powerful like social manipulation tool, right?
That I'm curious if you think he's changed. For a very long time, the line of Musk was that everything is backwards from his belief that eventually the humanity needs to be a interplanetary species.
He does think that.
And well,
If Zuckerberg wanted to do that stuff, I feel like it would be way worse than what we're looking
He sure
at.
seems to be more concerned with the demographic balance of
It would be
the
a
United
lot
States
cleaner.
and a handful of Northern European countries.
Well, look at all his children. Like he manifested himself
Instead of
by
as
having so many
messy as it
children,
is now.
and seemingly not spending time with them except for one. Right? He wants to have children, not necessarily be a parent, which I think is an interesting thing to plumb at some point.
So what is the goal that now motivates him? Do you really believe it's still the interplanetary thing, or is it a view that these countries are losing their cultures, and if you lose those cultures, then everything is lost?
I do think it does
I'm gonna run to the
manifest
bathroom
from
real quick.
the need to get off this planet. I do. I think that's everything. That is the one consistent
gotta
thing
get off this
since
planet,
I met him,
though,
which is this
actually.
idea that civilization is doomed, and therefore we need to get off this
But
planet.
if we
I
get
think
off this
at their
planet,
heart,
I just
they do
want it to be
believe
me
their
that gets
version
off
of
this
themselves
planet.
is the greatest version of.
Quick bathroom break. I want to pause the video actually because I want to keep listening to it. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Oh, you'll sore leaves.
Right, which would be a white guy supreme kind of thing. I think they actually believe that at their heart. And so you're going to see that manifested in these statements that he makes all the time, which are very clearly, like, I forget what he said, but essentially we need more South Africans here in this country or something like that.
No, we do
and
need,
he's always sort of...
We need to get the fuck off this planet, though, deadass. And it needs to be just me, my girlfriend, and that's it. Because fuck all you guys, I'm out of here, bitch. No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't shit, man. I just had a piss, I swear.
Pulling in that direction. I have never heard him express any kind of what I would consider... I've heard different CEOs express racism. His is a different kind. It's more around social engineering and the idea that the best people are being replaced. I think that's really where he lives, which is also racist, of course.
So to you, the synthesis of these positions, is it
So
Musk
I
is
was
still
right.
motivated?
Engineering. I've heard different... I have never heard him express any kind of what I would consider... I've heard different CEOs express racism. His is a different kind. It's more around social engineering and the idea that the best people are being replaced. I think that's really where he...
She's being so charitable to him, and it makes me mad. I don't know why. I know she's being nice and all. I really do. But bitch, come on, man. Of course he's being fucking racist. Of course he's being... What do you mean you've never seen it before? You've been following this guy since the beginning. Since before he was in politics. What do you mean you haven't seen it?
He lives, which is also racist, of course.
God.
So to you, the synthesis of these positions,
Dude,
is it Musk
what's with the softballing? Why is it that so many liberal, fucking left-leaning media, news source pundits or whatever, they softball criticism towards these blatantly fucking psychopathic leaders and influencers and people of power when they do nuts to butt shit? Call him out for it. That's not
is
that
still
hard. Come on,
motivated
man.
by the desire to become interplanetary, but he just believes that we are corroding the civilizational virtues and genius, that you would need to do that with DEI and the woke mind virus.
Everything is in the way of our getting somewhere else because the lesser people are in charge, or the lesser people, you know, he does talk about this a lot. Of like, at one point he was tweeting about cesarean sections, right? Did you see that tweet where he said if you have a cesarean, you have a better brain because your brain comes out better because you're not going through the vaginal canal. This whole thing he was talking about. And, you know, I've had a cesarean, so I sort of was like, sit down, sir. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. But he was that was a really interesting thing. Everyone sort of, it passed people by, but I was like, oh, he thinks you have to like preserve the birth. Like he's sort of eugenics almost. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was such a weird thing for him to go down that avenue. But he has these
Sort of
theories about
eugenics.
human
It
brains
probably
and
was
development. Obviously,
exactly
he's involved in
eugenics.
Neuralink.
Does she know what a dog whistle is? Because maybe she's not understanding that Elon's been dog whistling this whole time.
He's always been interested in
Maybe she
the
doesn't
idea of
understand
machine
that.
people merging together. That's certainly an area that hasn't been plumbed enough, his Neuralink stuff.
And so if you put all this together and bring it back to the government, it sounds to me like, if I pull out what you're saying here, what you have is someone who, in order for humanity to achieve its long-term goals, you need people like Elon Musk in control of a federal government that is responsive to people like Elon Musk, purged of the forces that were not responsive, that slow down a person like Elon Musk, in a polity that isn't infected by these modern progressive ideas of equity, of consensus, of doing all these things that are just slow and burdensome and regulatory and soft and don't allow for the risk and the daring to allow you to blow up 90 rockets. And so that sort of, is that your view of like the put it all together, that he's trying to functionally make the federal government something that can be effectively controlled by people like him to get to the goals he wants to get to?
Yeah, I think he thinks they're in the way. This goes back to Peter
No,
Thiel.
duh.
Peter Thiel is,
No,
everyone's
duh.
like, oh, they want to reform it. I go, no. They want to burn it down, like, and start again. Like that is, if you spend time reading Peter Thiel, that is what he's saying, right? Democracy doesn't work. It doesn't work. We're going to start with something else. And so they don't want, and that is sort of the ethos of, you know, move fast and break things, right? Which is
and earlier, it was a couple days ago, Ezra Klein made a video, right, where he said a lot of things I definitely agree with. But he also said that, you know, Trump's a liar, so he can't take anything he says seriously, right? So everything, all the crazy stuff that he says he's going to do, we could just act like it's not going to actually happen, right? Which I feel like, again, is the softballing, the making them seem less crazy than they actually are. Like, I guess, under this naive, optimistic assumption that things will turn out a lot better than they actually will, and the guardrails will hold up, and all this other stuff will occur, so we don't have to stress ourselves out as much, right? Especially when he's coming out the gate shooting, spraying 1,001 fucking executive orders and claims in action that, you know, just trying to see what sticks and what doesn't, right? Trying to overwhelm and all that kind of stuff, right? So with what she's saying right here,
so they don't want, right? Democracy doesn't work. It doesn't work. We're going to start with something else. And so they don't want, and that is sort of the ethos of, you know, move fast and break things, right? Which is a software
move fast
term.
and break things.
They want to
right?
break. They don't want to build. They want to break, and they can't build until you break.
Because they want to break and they want to burn it down to the ground so they could rebuild it, right? And what are they? Well, how do they do this? They want to break it all. They break it all, right? You break it all. So it's not so much that he's lying, right? He is lying. He's lying because he's saying that he's going to make things better, right? And he knows what he's going to do and how to do that, and he has the plan for it. That's how he's lying. But he's not lying when he says he's going to attack something. Even if that thing is probably insignificant or in the long run isn't going to fucking hurt us, if it might seem like that or appear like that at first, it's not because of that, right? He's trying to whittle away. He's trying to cross the lines in the small ways to see how far he could jump over that set line. And the only way that he could even do that jump is he allows us to get used to the line crossing. Once we get conditioned to it and we don't respond to it as we probably should, as what it seems to be happening right before my very eyes, videos like this, then, you know, we are truly fucked. We're going to be the ones that are truly fucked when that all goes down the waste. Because we're not going to be able to recognize and respond to threats at this point. Like, we're not going to be able to recognize and respond in equivalency to that threat in a way that will actually defend us from that threat.
And think of all the words they use. It's all about like destruction, like, and it's not creative destruction. It's let's wipe the slate clean, and then we will build the civilization we want.
By the way,
and let us show you the way of how we can get back to glory, kind of thing. And like it's just that it's that theory. But
the things that they will recreate, the things that they will build, will be to build in their image, things that will benefit them, and things that operate how they would like. So, according to the Agenda 47, for example, I think the clearest example of this is the American Academy, right? How Donald Trump wants to dismantle the Department of Education, which he's been saying over and over and over again. And it seems like every day they get closer and closer to that goal. He wants to dismantle it and replace it with something new, something called the American Academy, which at first he says he's going to promise a bunch of things like free college education, all online. You don't have to go to anywhere, all government funded, all these other things that, you know, stand in complete contradiction to other plans and promises that he's made. Like, you know, apparently no more public funding for schools and shit because it's a waste of taxpayers' money, but yet somehow we're going to use taxpayers' money to fund online schooling for college. I don't know. When you read into it, it doesn't make any sense. But that's the idea. Destroy it, break it down, rebuild the things that you need into something, your own image, something they could easily control. All the things you don't need, or all the things that may stand in the way, you just destroy it. You don't rebuild it, you just destroy it. So you need to take seriously a lot of the claims of action that Trump is making, even if they sound bizarre, even if they sound random. Like, for example, the whole executive order saying, I'm a defined sex as what you were assigned at birth, right? That alone, okay, I guess. How is that going to affect me? All it's going to affect me is, I guess, when I sign a piece of paper and fill out my information or something at the minimum. No, that seems stupid, but that was the groundwork for a launch pad into something much more fucked up, which was the making it illegal for, I guess, transgender students at all to participate in any type of sport, right? They have to participate in the sex that they were assigned at birth, and as well as removing them from the military and a whole bunch of other things that just waste of time. Again, they only affect 0.001% of the population. Like,
they sort of burnish it with this techno-utopianism that is really techno-authoritarianism.
It's just the goal.
If you break it down, that they know best.
It's just the plan.
And that is, we just listen to them, the world will be a better place for everybody.
To try to be generous to it as a theory of governmental reform, which...
I know you like to do that.
I try.
I think democracies work pretty fucking well, but go ahead.
So, Musk said regulations basically should be default gone. Not default there, default gone. If it turns out that we missed the mark on a regulation, we can always add it back in. And so if you take the view that we have a long-time stable government, it is there's a lot of trust, a lot of bureaucracy. That the theory here, which I guess is also a theory from Twitter, is like, yes, you rid it, you turn things off, you turn them back on, you cut hugely, and if there's a problem, then you go fix a problem later. But better to cut deeper and then be able to rebuild in a cleaner way than to cut not deep enough, to only get a quarter loaf. And politics does not go that far in reform. It's very, very hard to reform institutions, and there are real problems from that. I mean, San Francisco works quite poorly. Much of the federal government, leaves something to be desired. So is there a case to be made here for Muskism, that he is doing what normal political reformers won't do and taking risk in order to do it, but this is actually the only way to actually create a federal bureaucracy that is not quite so sclerotic?
I'm assuming he's asking this question just to clear up doubts, I guess, or to attack some of the praises that a Elon supporter might give?
No, I think it's not at all. I think I'm a reform person, right? Obviously, everything's not going to happen at once. There is an ease to tearing it all down, isn't there? And it has to be a willingness
I really hope
to sacrifice people,
he's not asking that question to be like, oh, we have to treat both sides the same type shit, because this is starting to get really annoying.
To sacrifice this group of people, these young women, they don't care about that. And one of the things I say over and over again, they're like, I have a lot of people like, how can they do this? How can they do this? I'm like, they don't care. They don't care for you. They don't think about you. You're nothing. And I remember one time Musk was the earliest person to talk to me about AI. Yeah, he's been around forever, but he was really concerned about the impact of AI on humanity. That was another thing. He was the first person to raise those alarms, to me at least, when he started OpenAI with Sam and the rest of them.
But you know what? Hold on. I know this because I've had this conversation with somebody. The whole Elon Musk's perspective about AI, yeah, I'll give him that. He was concerned about the morality and usage of it, right? But he believes also that he's the guy who's going to be able to figure it out for us. He believes that he's capable of making an AI that's moral. 100% is fucking moral. So, there's a little bit of delusion in this. It's like he gets obsessed about something that's like abstract, or like a really concern, or like a question that's hard, no one knows the answer for, and people are trying to figure it out, right? He'll like get interested in it and then try to figure out a way to make it all about him, right? He's like, I'm gonna solve this, but only to make myself feel more popular,
popular
or something like that.
It's going to get like the Terminator idea, right? It's going to become self-aware in 20 whatever, and then it's going to turn around and bomb us and kill us and start again, right? And we got to stop that. That was his theory. Next time I saw him, I thought he came up with a much more sophisticated idea of it, which was they're not going to kill us. They're going to treat us like house cats, right? We're house cats, and they're fine with us here, and they're going to build everything around us, but we're not in danger. We're in danger in the way house cats are. As long as they like house cats, we're fine. Like, they don't think of us as anything more. Then the next time I saw him, he had evolved into this idea that AI was more like building highways, the way we build highways across the country, and humanity is a bunch of anthills. And we go across anthills without thinking when we're building roads. We don't know that the anthills are there. We just do it. I thought the progression was really interesting to me, that's how he was looking at it. And to me, that's how I thought he was expressing how he operates. These things are anthills. I don't have to think about them because we never think about them. And so to me, that was a really interesting progression of the first one cares about what happens to humanity. The last one doesn't.
I like that progression of metaphors because very classically, what you put into the metaphor reveals what you can see and not see out of the metaphor. And I think the dominant comparison for what Musk is doing is Twitter, where he came in and used in some ways a very similar playbook to cut through it and take control of it. But during that period, Twitter broke down terribly. Its advertising collapsed. It's still a much jankier platform than it used to be. I mean, it has things it didn't have before, like Grok, but the search doesn't work. One thing that just strikes me when I look at what Trump is outsourcing to Musk right now is I wonder if they have really thought about the risk they're taking on.
No.
Because I've never seen an administration come in and so completely own everything bad that might happen that the federal government does or is supposed to regulate
they don't
in the coming
own
years. If you imagine something like the terrible plane crash that happened just recently happening in a year.
They don't own it. They blame it on something else.
Have come through the FAA, and Musk had already pushed the administrator of the FAA to be on leave or resign. You would get a lot more blame for that. But bad things happen all the time. The federal government is supposed to stop financial crises and on and on and on. They're coming with this axe to the government, pushing indiscriminate resignations, reassigning people, pushing out very talented career staff. Anything that goes wrong, they are truly going to own.
Yes, but they won't. They will not. They will not. They will say it is not them. It was we're cleaning up from the previous.
What the fuck is he talking about?
They will not take control because one.
They blame everything else on the left. They blame everything on the left. They like if it doesn't even matter if Trump made it himself, which was exactly what the DEI shit for the FAA stuff was. Like he made that DEI policy that he attacked. It doesn't even make sense. But he'll blame Obama. He'll blame everybody, anybody who's like a left-leaning name, he'll blame them. Doesn't even have to make sense.
They care about consequences. One of the messages is
they care about power.
They don't care about the consequences of damage. They do not care. They don't anticipate it. You're right about Twitter. It's a lesser business. The only way he's getting advertisers is by threatening them. Like they're just doing these lawsuits, and of course these advertisers are going to go back just to acquiesce to him.
It was back to my criticism of him saying like don't take anything seriously. Like he thinks that they care enough to be stopped by a freaking guardrail or whatever, like
power, right?
Not a better business. Tesla's not a better business than what it was because they haven't innovated the cars. That stock may be going up, but the sales are going down because the cars aren't as good. They just aren't. So he doesn't care about the actual thing. These people don't care about the actual thing. They care about laying waste to it, and then we'll build something better. But I don't know what they're going to build better. If you press them, and a lot of these, like, same thing with the media that goes with it. It's never about solutions, is it? It's about how everything sucks and we have to get rid of it. They never tell you what their replacement is.
They never fix anything.
Because they don't have.
There's no plan. There's no plan.
They don't have a...
There's no plan for anything other than the more important shit that allows them to exert more control and get more power. That's the only plan.
Building. They have a theory of destruction. It was Trump just with the water thing. He just, we got to get the water flow. What a disaster that was, what he just did, in California. He's wasting water.
Opening reservoirs for no reason to fight fires that are gone.
And then the whole group of people going, sir, well done. I'm like, are you fucking, who is not standing there from among the media going, are you fucking kidding me?
They need to call him out more. I mean, even you guys need to do that shit more.
That's what I want in the White House. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That was a disaster. Like what you just did, you idiot.
I think back to Twitter on the control question, because Musk buys Twitter. He breaks a lot of Twitter. He breaks the business of Twitter. Clearly, he's overpaying at $44 billion. And so I would have told you, a year ago, 18 months ago, that didn't work out. But what he did actually do is he made Twitter a channel for him personally.
That's right.
And he turned all of its attention and influence into something he could control. And I don't know if the power he's getting out of that or will get out of that is worth $44 billion. I don't think it's exactly the way to measure it, but I actually think it's worth more than that. I don't think it would be possible for Musk to play this role in both domestic and now international politics if he didn't do that. We don't know how to value attention.
It's like his acquisition of Twitter hasn't been anything about making money or being profitable. It's for every other reason but that. From addiction to power.
He made except for investing in Trump, that $280 million. Let me tell you, the only person when he bought it, we were all sort of like, "What in the world? Why is he paying so much? What an idiot!" Right? Everybody was saying that. That was sort of
well, he was too. He tried to get out of it on the view that it was overvalued.
It was stupid, right? Because he wasn't anticipating what he could use it for. Right? He didn't realize he had a really big gun there. Right?
Yeah,
he thought it was a knife.
It's like, oh, I'm glad I'm not crazy. I'm glad I'm not crazy. All right, so I'm not the only one who feels this way. He definitely stumbled into this power by accident without realizing what he had gotten. He had no idea. It was worth every dollar in the long run, despite him not even realizing it, because of what he actually was able to obtain from it.
The only person who called me was Mark Cuban, and he says, Carrie, he's not buying it. Like, maybe he doesn't know he's doing this, but when he goes in a room internationally as the head of Tesla or Starlink, I mean, he gets a meeting just like the head of GM or Lockheed gets, right? And world leaders, etc. When he goes in as the owner of Twitter, he has enormous power globally from an influence point of view. He goes, this is not a U.S. play. This is a global play. And I was like, I think Mark was 100% right. He bought it, and it gave him, he's the Twitter guy and also Tesla but he gets it. No one else has that, right? And maybe back in the day, Rupert Murdoch, right? I guess. And that's what he's done. But like bigger, better, stronger, more influential. Rupert Murdoch would never think of sitting with Trump cutting this stuff.
Murdoch didn't want to be the main character of his own platforms.
Right, but he is kind of Rupert Murdoch, right?
I totally agree.
He likes to do shit.
I've said the same thing. I think that's the absolutely correct comparison. But that
I just don't. I feel like also we have to take into consideration like he's only able to be in this position next to the president too because the president's so easily like influenced by him and his money. Like you could very much easily manipulate Trump, and especially if you're in the position of Elon, where you got more money than him, you got more influence than him internationally speaking, for sure. Like you run multiple businesses, you're just like there's so much more going for you. It's like Trump at this point is looking up to you. The only thing that he has above you is that he's a fucking president. and that the whole country like likes him. You know, it's like Elon doesn't have the respect and cult following that Trump has, but Trump doesn't have the financial gains and I guess like what is it, intelligence that Musk has, because you know, of course, Elon is way smarter than this fucking ass. Like, it's just nuts. You don't think it's a question? Yeah. Wait, to what? I forgot what I just said, man. I'm fucking. It's crazy how high I am.
The government, which is he may not know what he wants to build after it, but what I think that at least the Twitter experience probably taught him is if you break it, you can control it. You can make it a vehicle for you, right? And if it's filled with the old people who were in it and they're unafraid and they have power and they're power centers, then you're posed. I don't know what if even he knows what he wants to do with the government, but the degree to which he wants everybody to see that it is him doing it, I thought it was so telling that in the email they sent out to federal employees, trying to tell them you could get money and do nothing until September if you would just retire, that he gave it the same subject line as the email he sent out to Twitter employees during that buyout. He wanted everybody to know it was him. Exactly. He wants to be the main character of the whole thing, as you said at the beginning.
He wants to be the main character. I don't know.
Like all the media's like, look at
this. It's not even just that. I guess he doesn't want to be the main character. Yes. He does want more power. Yes. There's just so much going on here, man. He has like 150,000 reasons why he wants to be doing all this stuff.
It's me, Fredo. I know it's you, Fredo. Like, he totally wanted people. Everything he does, he wants you to know because, again, he is a desperate attention sponge and he just needs constant. Why would you stay up at night talking to people, you know, named Cat Turd? Why? I'm not a psychologist, but boy, does he have a big old hole right in the center of himself. And so what I think is very telling about both of these people is they do not have solutions. They only tell us what the problem is and they don't have a vision. Even Ronald Reagan had a vision. Like they all have. What is your vision? What do you want to make? Except get out of my way and let me do what I want to do.
The solution is to get rid of the problem. What's the problem? It's a person or a group of people.
The vision that I can tell. I haven't heard what they want to make at all.
He does seem a bit. You know, there's this idea of the sin eater. In fantasy novels, I forget exactly where it comes from, but you know, it's the character that consumes sin and then can be purged, right? You can purge that figure, and then the sins are gone. It's a sort of sacrificial character.
It's Jesus, I think.
And in a way, Musk, I wonder a bit about that in terms of the pain of the administrative war that Trump and the people around him wanted to do. I mean, when I think about when this starts to go bad, assuming this starts to go bad, Musk taking so much credit for it all makes him so usefully sacrificial.
Totally.
When the people around Musk who are more careful and quiet, the Susie Wileses, the Russ Votes, the rest of them who, you know, are not
have you noticed they're all leaking? We don't have control of him?
Yeah, there's a lot of leaking already that we can't control Musk. Such that the moment he becomes more liability than asset, you can get rid of him. He's like, well, he went too far, right? Elon Musk got out of control. That wasn't us. I don't know that it happens. And, you know, he has leverage he can bring to a fight like that. But it doesn't seem impossible that it happens. And you can see people setting up that escape route as we speak.
Utterly. Trump's life is full of those people.
Fuck. Well, I'm going to have to call it quits for now. I'm going to hop off stream. I got to get going and getting the rest of my day wrapped up. I appreciate everyone who stopped by. Right on cue. My girlfriend has arrived back home. But I appreciate everyone who stopped by. I hope you guys have a wonderful fucking day. Thank you, Soviet, Johnny, and everyone else who stopped by anyway. I keep saying the same thing. I'm high. I will have the stickers out soon. They'll be in my possession in like within the week. Thank God. So, and that's basically it. Be safe.